Chapter 49-31. What a powerful blade technique! After feeling the power of the Sea of Blades, many people could not help but exclaim. Yun Zhongtian was indeed the number one expert below the true immortal realm. When this blade technique was used, some early-stage true immortal realm cultivators would find it extremely difficult to deal with it. Yun Zhongtian's attack was indeed terrifying. Petty tricks! However, in the face of Yun Zhongtian's attack, the heavenly blood old monster was rather disdainful as he snorted coldly. Following that, both his hands gently drew a line in front of him, and instantly, a light shield formed. That light shield protected the heavenly blood old monster within. Dense blade gleams came slashing down. Clang! 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 The blade gleams slashed down on the energy shield, and what shocked everyone was that despite so many powerful blade gleams slashing down on the energy shield, only a series of clanging sounds could be heard and the energy shield did not shatter. Seeing this scene, many people could not help but exclaim. The heavenly blood old monster was indeed a famous true immortal realm expert. Although he was an unpardonable evil cultivator, his cultivation was truly terrifying. Thousand-blade heaven-splitting slash! Seeing that the endless sea of blades was unable to do anything to the heavenly blood old monster, Yun Zhongtian unleashed a new technique. He held the blade with both hands and slashed down at the heavenly blood old monster. Following that, an endless amount of blade gleams appeared. Those blade gleams. In an instant, they fused into the treasured blade. Following that, Yun Zhongtian slashed out with his blade, and a 10,000-meter-long gigantic blade gleam formed and slashed down at the heavenly blood old monster. The power of this saber strike was so strong that even the void was shattered. The blade gleam contained an endless amount of blade intent, and after feeling the aura of the blade intent, many people were so frightened that they trembled. What a terrifying blade intent! Yun Zhongtian has long achieved the state of being one with the blade! A cultivator exclaimed in shock. Many people were moved. Yun Zhongtian was indeed very strong, but the heavenly blood old monster was clearly not an ordinary true immortal realm cultivator. He had long stepped into the true immortal realm, so although Yun Zhongtian's attack was very powerful, it was hard to say if it could defeat the heavenly blood old monster. Not bad, not bad, this saber strike is finally more like it. Faced with Yun Zhongtian's attack, the heavenly blood old monster laughed eerily before he commented on Yun Zhongtian's attack. It was then that Tian Shui attacked as well. Tian Shui swung his fist forward and a massive, blood-colored fist silhouette condensed out from the void. That gigantic blood-red fist shadow flew straight towards Yun Zhongtian's 10,000 zhanglong blade of light. The next moment, the blood-red fist shadow collided with the saber light. Terrifying energy shockwaves swept out. Yun Zhongtian was sent flying by the powerful aftershocks. Wow! Yun Zhongtian finally managed to regain his footing in the air, but he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Yun Zhongtian is injured! The old monster Tian Shui is just too powerful. Although Cloud Heaven is able to contend against some of the true immortal pugilists, but it is obvious that they are unable to contend against the true immortal pugilists at the level of the old monster Tian Shui. If Yun Zhongtian had broken through to the true immortal realm, he might be able to defeat the old monster of heaven blood. But alas, Yun Zhongtian has not broken through to the true immortal realm yet. Could Yun Zhongtian have been killed by the heavenly blood old monster here? Many people began to discuss amongst themselves. Everyone was naturally not optimistic about Yun Zhongtian's chances, mainly because the old monster of heaven blood was just too powerful. He was so powerful that it caused everyone to feel despair. I will take your life! The old monster of heaven blood laughed eerily before he leaped out and charged towards Yun Zhongtian, intending to kill him. But just at that moment, a flash of sword chi flew out from the void and slashed towards the old monster of heaven blood. The old monster of heaven blood was shocked. That flash of sword chi made him feel threatened. The old monster of heaven blood was after all a cultivator who had been immersed in the true immortal realm for over 1,000,000 years, and his powers were formidable. Faced with the attack of the sword chi, he quickly deployed a powerful defensive mystique. A blood-red shield appeared before him, protecting him. Clang! That flash of sword chi slashed onto the blood-red shield, and both the shield and the old monster of heaven blood were sent flying. Because the blood-red shield was formed from a mystique, it shattered after taking that blow. And just at that moment, a young cultivator walked out from the void. "Young master!" Seeing the young cultivator, Yun Zhongtian immediately bowed towards the young master. That young master was naturally Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded his head. At that moment, the surrounding people were in a complete mess. A young cultivator had actually repelled a powerful cultivator like the old monster of heaven blood. That was just too unbelievable, wasn't it? Shui Yuexin's family members were shocked as well. When they saw Yun Zhongtian being so respectful towards Lin Feng, they had thought that it was because of Lin Feng's extraordinary background. But Lin Feng had actually repelled the old monster of heaven blood. Wasn't that just too terrifying? How could someone so young have such a terrifying cultivation level? But many people had seen that scene earlier, and they could not help but believe it. "You are that person!" The old monster of heaven blood looked at Lin Feng with a dark face. He was extremely furious because he had just been sent flying. Although he was not injured, he felt that his reputation had been tarnished. Of course, the old monster of heaven blood did not think that he was inferior to Lin Feng. He felt that the reason why he had suffered a small loss earlier was because Lin Feng had ambushed him. If they were to fight face to face, he would definitely be able to take care of Lin Feng easily. Lin Feng looked at the old monster of heaven blood indifferently and said, "Scram! Or die!" Hearing Lin Feng's words, the surrounding people exploded. Wasn't Lin Feng just too overbearing? He actually dared to ask the old monster of heaven blood to scram. He did not hold the old monster of heaven blood in any regard at all. Everyone present felt that Lin Feng was too arrogant. Even if Lin Feng's cultivation level was extraordinary, he was not strong enough to ignore the old monster of heaven blood, right? Only Shui Yuexin and Yun Zhongtian felt that everything was normal. They had an almost blind confidence in Lin Feng. "You reckless fool! I will take your dog life!" The old monster of heaven blood shouted coldly and leaped out towards Lin Feng. Endless blood light surged out from the old monster of heaven blood's body. Everyone knew that the old monster of heaven blood was about to perform his own unique skill. The old monster of heaven blood's unique skill must be extremely terrifying. At this moment, Lin Feng moved as well. He came from the heavens and could kill an immortal with one sword. Lin Feng turned into a dazzling sword chi and flew towards the old monster of heaven blood. The speed of the sword chi was simply too fast. Everyone saw it. The sword chi that Lin Feng turned into flew across the void, accompanied by a ripping sound. Blood splattered everywhere. The old monster of heaven blood. He was actually split into two by the sword chi that Lin Feng turned into. Chapter 49-32. Dead? The heavenly blood old monster is dead! That's a true immortal expert, but he was killed by that young master in a single move! How is this possible? I must be dreaming, right? No, this is all real! That young master is too terrifying! He's unimaginably strong! Everyone exclaimed and couldn't believe what they were seeing. However, they knew that it was all true. A true immortal expert was really killed by a very young cultivator. This was indeed hard to believe. However, the world of cultivators was a world full of miracles. In this world, no matter what happened, it was acceptable. Because in this world, everything was possible. Son-in-law, you're actually so powerful! Shui Yuexin's family members were all stunned. They could not even think straight. Before this, even those earthly immortals and human immortals were existences that they could not afford to offend. But now, their family's son-in-law was actually so powerful. It was simply unbelievable. The cultivators of Inferno Island were also shocked. They had only heard about how powerful Lin Feng was from their first master, but they had never seen Lin Feng in action. Now that they had seen Lin Feng in action, they knew how terrifying Lin Feng was. A true immortal expert, who had been in the true immortal realm for many years, was killed by Lin Feng just like that. They could not imagine how powerful Lin Feng was. And now, they had more or less established a relationship with Lin Feng. At the thought of this, many of them became extremely excited. Compared to the shock of the others, Shui Yuexin and Yun Zhongtian were much calmer. After all, they knew how powerful Lin Feng was. However, even though they knew that Lin Feng was strong, they were still shocked when they saw Lin Feng kill the Heavenly Blood Old Monster. After all, the Heavenly Blood Old Monster was so powerful, but he was still killed by Lin Feng. Now, it seemed that they had underestimated Lin Feng. Wu Qitian's face became extremely ugly. He looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of fear. Even a powerful existence like the Heavenly Blood Old Monster was instantly killed by Lin Feng. Wu Qitian knew that Lin Feng was not an existence he could provoke. As for the members of the White Fox tribe, many of them were scared out of their wits. Many of them fainted from fright. "Young Master Tian, run!" a follower beside Wu Qitian hurriedly said. Only then did Wu Qitian come back to his senses. How would he dare to stay? He wanted to take advantage of the fact that Lin Feng wasn't paying attention and flee. Lin Feng coldly looked at Wu Qitian and said, "Did I say you could leave?" Wu Qitian said with a pale face. "You've already killed Elder Tian. What do you want?" "I still want to kill you," Lin Feng said casually. He really did want to kill this Wu Qitian. This guy was from a dual cultivation sect. This kind of power was extremely disgusting. It was also one of the powers that Lin Feng hated the most. People from this kind of sect did not come out to harm others, and Lin Feng could not be bothered with them. However, the person that Wu Qitian wanted to harm was Shui Yuexin. Although Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin did not have any physical relationship, Lin Feng still liked her. Shui Yuexin was a good woman. If Shui Yuexin did not know him, her fate would be miserable. "I'm from the Passion Valley. Moreover, I'm a direct descendant of the Passion Valley. My Passion Valley has many experts. If you kill me, you'll offend the Passion Valley. If you let me go, we won't owe each other anything. From then on, you go your own way, and I'll go mine. Moreover, I won't provoke Shui Yuexin anymore," Wu Qitian said. Even now, this guy still dared to threaten Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered and said, "So what if you're from the Passion Valley? A mere Passion Valley is nothing in my eyes." As soon as his voice fell, Lin Feng waved his right hand and a sword chi flew out. With a poochie sound, Wu Qitian's head was beheaded by Lin Feng. After seeing this scene, many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Lin Feng was really too strong and decisive. Such a man was both domineering and handsome. It really made people want to move. Those female cultivators who were watching the show stared at Lin Feng. They couldn't wait to start a relationship with Lin Feng. Now that Lin Feng was about to beckon with his finger, there would probably be a large group of beauties throwing themselves at him. Lin Feng looked indifferently at one of Wu Qitian's followers and said coldly, "Bring Wu Qitian's head back to the Passion Valley. Tell the people of the Passion Valley that if there's nothing, don't come out to harm others. Now scram!" "Yes, yes, yes. We'll scram now." After those people kept the corpses of Tian Shui Old Monster and Wu Qitian, they didn't dare to stay any longer. They quickly left and disappeared without a trace. The group of people from the White Fox tribe trembled. "Spare us, spare us!" the leader of the White Fox tribe said in horror. Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin's father and said, "Uncle, how should we deal with these people? It's all up to you. And Mo Shan, we're from the same tribe. We have the same blood flowing in our veins. Please let us go." The leader of the White Fox tribe and the rest looked at Shui Yuexin's father and begged loudly. They knew that their lives were in the hands of Shui Yuexin's father. After hearing the leader of the White Fox tribe's words, many people couldn't help but curse in their hearts. This old thing was really shameless. Since when did he treat Shui Yuexin's family as his own? Now that he had said that they had the same blood flowing in their veins, he was really shameless. Shui Yuexin's father sighed. Although the main tribe had let them down, Shui Yuexin's father was a kind person and he didn't want to pursue this matter any further. Although they didn't have any feelings for the main tribe, they were still from the same tribe. From now on, our two tribes have nothing to do with each other. You can leave now, Shui Yuexin's father said. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. He didn't express any opinions as this was a family matter of the White Fox tribe. Regardless of the conclusion Shui Yuexin's father made, Lin Feng would support him. After hearing Shui Yuexin's father's words, the group of people from the White Fox tribe heaved a sigh of relief. We'll leave now. We'll leave now. Chapter 49-33. Ladies and gentlemen, the matter here is over. You may all disperse, Lin Feng said. Seeing that there was no more drama to watch, many people began to disperse. However, there were many beautiful female cultivators who did not leave, each of them looking at Lin Feng with their lustful eyes. Young Master Ji, since the matter here is over, we shall take our leave as well. Yun Zhongtian cupped his fists and said. Lin Feng nodded and said, Be careful on your way back. Don't worry, young master, we will. Yun Zhongtian said hurriedly. He was feeling incomparably happy because before they left, Lin Feng had actually expressed his concern for them. It seemed that he had made the right choice. Who knows, this young Master Ji might have already taken him as a friend. If that was the case, then he had reaped a great reward. Yun Zhongtian and the others did not linger but quickly left. Seeing that Yun Zhongtian and the others had left, many beautiful female cultivators walked towards Lin Feng one after another. Those female cultivators then stuffed slips of paper into Lin Feng's hands. Young master, you must come and look for me tonight. Many of the female cultivators even threw flirtatious glances at Lin Feng after stuffing the slips of paper into Lin Feng's hands. They were obviously trying to seduce Lin Feng on purpose. Lin Feng did not need to read the contents of those slips of paper to know what it was about. It was none other than where they were staying now. A bunch of sluts! How shameless! Seeing this scene, Shui Yuexin's sister-in-law and second sister-in-law immediately cursed. They felt that those women were just too slutty. They actually dared to seduce Lin Feng right in front of Shui Yuexin. Could they be any more shameless? Shui Yuexin's heart was also extremely angry. Although she and Lin Feng were not really lovers. Seeing so many beautiful female cultivators trying to seduce Lin Feng, her heart was still filled with anger. Lin Feng did not keep those slips of paper. Instead, he summoned out his heavenly fire and burned those slips of paper into ashes. Seeing this scene, Shui Yuexin's pretty face immediately broke into a smile. The Shui clan members also secretly praised Lin Feng's straightforward actions. Obviously, Lin Feng was not the kind of person who would not reject any woman. After going back to the Shui clan, Lin Feng thought that he was going to leave soon. Besides, the matters of the Shui clan had already been resolved, so he didn't need to worry about Shui Yuexian's father anymore. Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexian's father knew that Lin Feng was extremely strong, and now Lin Feng wanted to check his father's injuries. Thinking about that, Shui Yuexian's father looked excited. He looked at Lin Feng and said, Little friend Ji, is there any chance of me recovering? Lin Feng said. I can't guarantee that. Let's check first. Shui Yuexin's father hurriedly nodded. Lin Feng began to examine Shui Yuexin's father. His divine sense invaded Shui Yuexin's father's body and immediately discovered that there was indeed a huge problem with his meridians. Many of them were completely broken. In addition, he had been paralyzed for a long time, so his lower limbs had shrunk. It was naturally more difficult to treat. Lin Feng had not thought of a way to treat Shui Yuexin's father for the time being. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to ask the Demon Lord. Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord to see if there was a way to treat Shui Yuexin's father. The Demon Lord said, Refining a meridian replenishing pill can reconnect the broken meridians. However, his lower body has shrunk due to the lack of blood supply for a long time. He will need some time to recuperate. This result was already very good. After all, Shui Yuexin's father could return to the appearance of a normal person. Once he fully recovered, he would be able to cultivate again. Shui Yuexin asked. Young master, can my father's injuries be treated? Everyone looked at Lin Feng, especially Shui Yuexin's father. He was extremely nervous. This was his only hope. If even Lin Feng said that his injuries could not be treated, then his injuries might really be untreatable. Lin Feng said, "It can be treated. I need to refine a pill. Once I'm done refining the pill, Uncle's body will be able to recover." That's great, that's really great. Father will no longer have to suffer the pain of his meridians being broken, Shui Yuexin said excitedly. The Shui clan members were extremely happy after hearing Lin Feng's confirmation. Shui Yuexin's father was so emotional that he shed tears. All these years, he had been tortured to the point where he wished he was dead. Several times. He wanted to end his own life. If not for the fact that he could not bear to part with his wife and child. Perhaps he would have chosen to go to the extreme long ago. Fortunately, he did not do that. After persevering until now, he finally saw the hope of recovery. Shui Yuexin's father naturally trusted Lin Feng completely. He believed that his son-in-law would definitely be able to help him recover. At night, Lin Feng asked, "Demon Lord, what kind of ingredients are needed to refine the meridian replenishing pill?" The Demon Lord said, "The ingredients are not particularly precious. I've already entered the space-time continuum and found all the ingredients needed. Once I've adjusted my state, I can try refining it." Refining the pill. Naturally, it was not something that could be refined as he wished. He needed to adjust his body to a better state. That way, the success rate would be higher and the quality would be better. Lin Feng said, "Demon Lord, thank you for your help." The Demon Lord smiled and went to rest. Bang! 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 Someone knocked on the door. Lin Feng opened the door and saw Shui Yuexin standing outside. Shui Yuexin wore a moon-white dress today. Her figure was tall and voluptuous. Now that her mesmerizing figure was wrapped in the moon-white dress, it was hard to take one's eyes off her. In addition, Shui Yuexin was a vixen with a charming temperament. Therefore, when such a woman appeared in front of him, Lin Feng felt hot. "You're not asleep yet?" Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin and asked. Shui Yuexin said, "I'm here to deliver some spiritual fruits to you." Lin Feng knew that Shui Yuexin was just making up an excuse. What kind of spiritual fruits did he not have? Why would he need Shui Yuexin to deliver them? Lin Feng knew how Shui Yuexin felt about him. However, both of them did not reveal this layer of relationship. He said, "Come in quickly." Shui Yuexin blushed and nodded. Then, she walked in with the tray. Lin Feng closed the door. Seeing Lin Feng close the door, Shui Yuexin's face turned even redder. Her heart could not help but beat wildly. She did not know what Lin Feng meant by that. Lin Feng did not know what Shui Yuexin was thinking. He did not mean anything when he closed the door. He just closed it casually. However, Shui Yuexin seemed to have misunderstood him. Chapter 49-34. I wonder what kind of herbs are needed to refine the pill that young master is talking about. If there are any herbs that young master cannot find, you must tell me. Shui Yuexin looked at Lin Feng and said. The current Shui Yuexin was truly beautiful. Such a beauty could make one's heart palpitate. Fortunately, Lin Feng's willpower was strong. In addition, he was used to seeing all kinds of beauties, so he still had this bit of willpower. Lin Feng said. All kinds of herbs have been gathered. I will be able to refine the pill soon. Shui Yuexin said. Young master has helped me so much, but Yuexin has nothing to repay you with. Lin Feng said. Aren't we friends? It's normal for friends to help each other. Shui Yuexin said faintly. Does young master only see me as a friend? Before saying this, Shui Yuexin had already made a lot of preparations. Shui Yuexin felt that there were many times when people needed to make quick decisions on certain matters. Especially when it came to matters of the heart, one could not hesitate. If one missed this opportunity, they might not have another chance to be together. Women were naturally more reserved, but when it came to pursuing their true love, they did not have to be so reserved. Boldly pursuing one's true love and living one's true self was the most important thing to do. Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin and said, "Fairy, what kind of person do you think I should treat you as?" Shui Yuexin blushed, but her eyes were burning with boldness. "A considerate person," Shui Yuexin said. She took the initiative to walk toward Lin Feng, then stretched out her slender hand and gently caressed Lin Feng's face. He had been teased. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. "Fairy, have you ever thought that I am a person who cannot stay in one place for too long? I also cannot pour all my feelings into a woman," Lin Feng said. Shui Yuexin looked at Lin Feng and said bitterly, "Does young master have many women?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "I do not deny this." Hearing Lin Feng's reply, Shui Yuexin was somewhat absent-minded. Although Lin Feng hadn't known Shui Yuexin for a long time, he had a deeper understanding of Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin was just a foxy woman who looked charming and flirtatious on the outside. In fact, her inner world was relatively simple. Naturally, she was very serious about relationships. Such a person often hoped to have a love that belonged to her, rather than sharing a man with another woman. Lin Feng could roughly guess Shui Yuexin's thoughts. Therefore, Lin Feng did not provoke Shui Yuexin. Although Lin Feng could hide some things from Shui Yuexin, but Lin Feng didn't do so. Lin Feng was a relatively pure person. He didn't want to do these fake things. 1 was 1. 2 was 2. Lin Feng was still the same as before. He preferred beautiful women, but he would not do something that went against his heart just to get some beautiful women. To put it another way, it could be understood as, Lin Feng didn't want to hurt those simple women. Lin Feng said, "It's getting late. Go back and rest." Shui Yuexin felt that her mind was in a mess. On one hand, she wanted to develop further with Lin Feng. On the other hand, she wanted to share Lin Feng with another woman. Humans were often very possessive. Naturally, no woman would be willing to share her man with another woman. However, some women's love exceeded separation. Therefore, they chose to submit to reality. However, some women chose to leave. Shui Yuexin didn't even know how she left, nor did she know how she returned to her room. She lay on the bed with her long and straight legs intertwined. She stared blankly at the ceiling. No one knew what she was thinking. After the Demon Lord adjusted his state of mind, he entered the time and space to refine elixirs. The Demon Lord's elixir refining skills were naturally excellent. Lin Feng lent the black flame god-devouring fire to the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord spent 5 days in the time and space to successfully refine the elixirs. However, it was only the afternoon of the second day in the outside world. Lin Feng took the elixirs to Shui Yuexin's father. After seeing Shui Yuexin, Lin Feng smiled and nodded to Shui Yuexin. However, Shui Yuexin didn't know why, but when she saw the smile on Lin Feng's face, she felt a faint pain in her heart. A sense of alienation. That was a sense of alienation. Shui Yuexin was a sensitive person. In the past, she could feel a sense of admiration from Lin Feng's gaze when he looked at her. Sometimes, she could also feel a burning gaze. It was a burning gaze that carried a possessive desire. Shui Yuexin felt extremely disgusted when others looked at her like that. However, Lin Feng's gaze made Shui Yuexin's heart beat faster. However, now, Shui Yuexin could no longer feel that gaze. Lin Feng was still smiling at her, but Shui Yuexin felt a sense of alienation that she had never felt before. Shui Yuexin wanted to say something to Lin Feng, but Lin Feng had already entered the hall. Shui Yuexin had no choice but to follow him. "Uncle, this elixir should have a very good effect on your injuries. Swallow it. I will help you to dissolve the elixir and let's see how it works." Lin Feng took out the elixirs refined by the Demon Lord. Shui Yuexin's father immediately showed an excited expression and said, "Thank you, little friend." "Uncle, you are welcome," Lin Feng said with a smile. Shui Yuexin's father swallowed the elixir and Lin Feng injected his spiritual power into Shui Yuexin's father's body. Then, those elixirs began to dissolve gradually. Not long after, those elixirs began to be absorbed by Shui Yuexin's father's body. Shui Yuexin's father's broken meridians began to recover rapidly. When all the elixirs were absorbed, Shui Yuexin's father suddenly felt a sense of relief that he had never felt before. "Uncle, why don't you try standing up?" Lin Feng said. Shui Yuexin's father nodded and tried to stand up. Soon, he was pleasantly surprised to find that he could actually stand up. "I actually recovered!" Shui Yuexin's father's eyes were brimming with tears. "Congratulations, second brother! Congratulations, second uncle! Congratulations, second uncle!" Many people congratulated Shui Yuexin's father. The whole family was immersed in joy. Lin Feng quietly went outside and Shui Yuexin followed him out. Lin Feng said, "Fairy, I still have some things to settle, so I might not be able to go back with you. After I am done, I will go to Little Western Paradise City. Let's meet again there." Chapter 49-35. Lin Feng planned to head towards the Blackstone Mountains. The Blackstone Mountains extended for about 50 to 60 miles. Within the mountain range, there were dozens of mountains of various sizes. When Lin Feng arrived, he noticed that there were some cultivators wandering around the outskirts of the Blackstone Mountains. These cultivators were all looking towards the interior of the Blackstone Mountains. They were probably hesitating if they should enter the Blackstone Mountains to take a look. The Blackstone Mountains were very scary, but there were also many opportunities within. It was said that many people had obtained opportunities within the Blackstone Mountains. Since then, they had soared to the heavens. However, even more people had died within the Blackstone Mountains. Such a place was a place where danger and opportunity coexisted. Naturally, one had to be careful when entering such a place. If one wasn't careful, they wouldn't even know how they died. After Lin Feng observed from the outskirts, he discovered that other than the many powerful restrictions within the Blackstone Mountains, there was also a strange power that he felt. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The Blackstone Mountains were indeed not simple. Lin Feng found an empty spot and entered the Blackstone Mountains. Although the restrictions were hidden, they couldn't hide from Lin Feng's divine sense. Lin Feng could easily sense where the restrictions were hidden. Therefore, Lin Feng successfully avoided many of the terrifying restrictions. "Look, someone has entered the Blackstone Mountains!" Someone outside saw Lin Feng and said to his companions, "There will always be people who take the risk to enter the Blackstone Mountains in search of opportunities. I wonder if this guy will be the unlucky one or the lucky one," a cultivator said. The Blackstone Mountains were too dangerous. However, no matter how dangerous it was, there would still be some lucky ones. Lin Feng went deeper. He held the ancient map in his hand. The ancient map didn't have any special fluctuations for the time being. He didn't know if there would be any fluctuations when he neared the destination. The ancient map's final destination was the Blackstone Mountains. There was a red dot marking the final destination. However, the map didn't give any specific indication of the situation within the mountains. Therefore, after entering the mountains, one had to rely on oneself to find the final destination. Suddenly, Lin Feng sensed a dangerous qi which he had never sensed before. His facial expression changed slightly. Lin Feng moved to the left. Clang! The void that brushed past his body shattered. Seeing this, Lin Feng was shocked. An invisible force pierced through the void. If Lin Feng hadn't dodged that beam of light would have pierced through Lin Feng's body. Fortunately, his sudden inspiration ability allowed him to sense the approaching danger in advance. Lin Feng hurriedly summoned his sovereign armor. Clang! As Lin Feng activated his ruler's armor to protect himself, a formless energy slammed into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was blown away by that invisible and intangible strength. Even though he was wearing the ruler's armor, Lin Feng still felt like his body was about to fall apart. The power of that attack just now was so terrifying that it made Lin Feng's heart palpitate. Lin Feng quickly rushed into the depths. He felt that he had entered a very dangerous area. That area could condense a formless power, and that formless power would cause extremely serious damage to his body. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't dare to stay in that area any longer. Clang! 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 As Lin Feng quickly retreated from that area, a series of clanging sounds rang out. 3 times in a row. Lin Feng was attacked by that invisible force. He was sent flying again and again. Fortunately, his ruler's armor was strong enough to block that invisible force. Otherwise, Lin Feng had the impression that his body would have been pierced by the sword, one bloody hole after another. Fortunately, Lin Feng finally rushed out of that area. Damn it! What's going on with that area? It's so dangerous! Lin Feng couldn't help but say gloomily. He didn't notice anything strange. The world of cultivators was often like this. There would always be things that you couldn't explain with words. Once this kind of thing happened, you wouldn't know how to face it or deal with it. Before you could react, you would have already died from these attacks. Lin Feng took a deep breath. He didn't set off immediately. Instead, he planned to adjust himself. After he had completely recovered, Lin Feng continued to walk inside. As he continued to go deeper, Lin Feng suddenly felt uneasy. He felt like he was being watched by some terrifying creature. This place was very dangerous. It was very normal for there to be some extremely powerful creatures. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that he might have been watched by those extremely terrifying creatures. This made Lin Feng a little distressed and helpless. He hoped to find the final location marked on the ancient map smoothly. He didn't want to fight with the powerful beast here, but all of this was just wishful thinking. At this moment, Lin Feng heard some noises coming from the left side of the forest. He turned his head and immediately saw a girl with a jade scepter in her hand. Her face was pale and she was running towards him. To be precise, she couldn't be considered a girl. She seemed to be slightly younger than Lin Feng, but her face looked very young. She looked like she was 16 or 17 years old. A gentle pinch on her body seemed to be able to squeeze out water. After seeing this female cultivator, Lin Feng couldn't help but be slightly stunned. How could such a beautiful and young female cultivator come out of such a dangerous place? Handsome brother, I want a hug. The female cultivator also saw Lin Feng. Then she opened her arms as if she wanted to hug Lin Feng. Damn it! So open? They just met for the first time and she wants to hug? Could it be that I'm so handsome that I can make these beautiful female cultivators fall head over heels for me? Am I that handsome? Lin Feng couldn't help but touch his face. You're the one who asked me to hug. Lin Feng looked at the girl and said. Then, he opened his arms. He was ready to welcome the girl flying towards him. Idiot! However, when the girl ran to Lin Feng's side, she looked at Lin Feng with disdain. Then, she turned and ran into the distance. Who are you calling an idiot? Lin Feng was angry. How dare she call me an idiot? Did she eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? Chapter 49-36. Lin Feng was startled when he saw the terrifying creature rushing out of the forest. The creature shrouded in flames was a holy spirit of the Stone Clan. It looked like a lion, but it also looked like a qilin. It had a tail like a crocodile. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of creature it was. However, Lin Feng was sure that the holy spirit of the Stone Clan was terrifyingly powerful. In fact, Lin Feng had seen many holy spirits of the Stone Clan, but this was the first time he saw one shrouded in flames. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan quickly pounced on Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng had no intention of fighting the holy spirit of the Stone Clan. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan was so powerful that it would be a waste of energy to fight it. Moreover, it wouldn't benefit him at all. This was why Lin Feng didn't want to fight the holy spirit of the Stone Clan. Lin Feng suddenly recalled the scene of the little girl running towards him and opening her arms to hug him. That little girl wanted him to help her deal with the holy spirit of the Stone Clan. She was so two-faced. Lin Feng was speechless. Lin Feng quickly chased after the little girl. However, the little girl was too fast. She disappeared into the forest. Damn, where did she go? Lin Feng was speechless. Roar! The holy spirit of the Stone Clan that was chasing after Lin Feng roared from time to time. The Holy Spirit of the Stone Clan had a terrifying aura. It was ferocious and violent. Its speed was extremely fast, and it was still accelerating. It should be a creature of the Stone Clan, so it wasn't affected by the seal. However, Lin Feng was different. Lin Feng was affected by the seal, so his speed was much slower than outside. Eventually, the Holy Spirit of the Stone Clan caught up to Lin Feng. The Holy Spirit of the Stone Clan spat out a ball of flame that flew towards Lin Feng. After feeling the terrifying power of the ball of flame, Lin Feng was shocked. Lin Feng didn't plan to take the ball of flame head-on. Instead, he quickly dodged the fireball's attack. He successfully dodged the fireball, but the fireball suddenly exploded. Lin Feng hurriedly brought out his ruler's armor. The explosion of the fireball's energy slammed into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was blasted away, but fortunately, he had the protection of the ruler's armor and his powerful physical body, so he didn't suffer too much damage. Lin Feng quickly got up and rushed towards the Holy Spirit. Since he was being pestered by this guy, he might as well fight him. When Lin Feng approached the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe, the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe was stunned. The Holy Spirit of the Stone Clan shot out terrifying beams of flame from its eyes. Lin Feng collided with a beam of flame. He was immediately swept away by the flame beam. Lin Feng didn't give up. He continued to try to get closer to the Holy Spirit. However, the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe didn't plan on fighting Lin Feng in close combat. Its eyes continued to shoot out beams of flame. Lin Feng knew how powerful those beams of flame were, so he didn't plan on fighting them head-on. He tried to dodge the beams of flame, but the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe forced him into a rather difficult situation. Shit, this can't go on. Lin Feng's face darkened. He had to think of a solution. Otherwise, he would be at a huge disadvantage. In the end, Lin Feng couldn't think of a good solution. So he decided to keep running. The Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe's attacks were watertight. He would be at a huge disadvantage if he fought it. Lin Feng gathered several hundred powerful jade talismans, and tossed them all at the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe. Under normal circumstances, Lin Feng wouldn't want to use those jade talismans. Drawing those talismans was very difficult, and the materials were hard to find. However, there was nothing he could do now. Boom! A huge explosion rang out. A large number of jade talismans exploded. The Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe was blasted away. Lin Feng smiled when he saw the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe being blasted away. He didn't stop. He quickly flew away. Lin Feng knew that those jade talismans could only blast the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe away. They couldn't kill the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe. Lin Feng heard the angry roar of the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe, but in the end, the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe still couldn't find Lin Feng's whereabouts. After getting rid of the Holy Spirit of the Stone Tribe, Lin Feng continued to travel deeper. When he reached a mountain in the depths, the ancient map in Lin Feng's hands actually transmitted waves of violent fluctuations. Lin Feng was overjoyed. It seemed that the ancient map had finally sensed the marked location. Thinking of this, Lin Feng sped up. He couldn't wait to enter the marked location to see what was there. The ancient map suddenly broke free from Lin Feng's hands and quickly flew forward. Lin Feng followed the ancient map all the way. They entered a valley. As soon as they entered the valley, they heard a huge explosion. In the depths of the valley, a large number of rocks collapsed. A huge cave abode appeared in his sight. An extremely cold aura was emitted from the cave residence. When Lin Feng arrived at the entrance of the cave residence, he saw that the cave residence was filled with a cold aura. The ancient map that was suspended in midair once again fell into Lin Feng's hands. Lin Feng held the ancient map in his hand and looked into the depths. It was pitch black inside, and he couldn't see anything. He didn't know what dangers there were, but this was the final marked location of the ancient map. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to explore it. Lin Feng was about to enter, but at this time, the demon lord suddenly said, "Take out the stone armor and wear it." Hearing this, Lin Feng nodded. The stone armor was a treasure obtained from Sin Street. When entering the land of death, wearing the stone armor could avoid some unknown and terrifying dangers. So, when Lin Feng entered the land of death, he would often wear the stone armor. However, this place was not a land of death. Therefore, when Lin Feng entered here, he didn't wear the stone armor. But now, since the demon lord asked him to wear the stone armor, Lin Feng didn't refuse. After all, it was a safe period. Maybe the stone armor could really work. After Lin Feng put on the stone armor, he walked into the cave. His footsteps were very light, almost too weak to hear. Lin Feng carefully walked into the depths. He felt that there might be some terrifying dangers hidden in this place. The feeling of being watched became more and more obvious after coming here. The passage was very long. After walking for about half an hour, Lin Feng entered the depths of the passage. In the depths of the passage, there was a huge mountain belly. What surprised Lin Feng was that he didn't encounter any danger along the way. Lin Feng entered the mountain belly. As soon as he entered the mountain belly, Lin Feng saw a large number of bones piled up in the mountain belly. Chapter 49-37. Who died here? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Not too far away, he saw a medallion next to a skeleton. He walked over, picked up the medallion, and looked at it carefully. There were many strange pictures on the medallion. However, there were 2 ancient characters written on it. Lin Feng had been learning these ancient characters from the Demon Lord, so he could recognize them. Count of the Wind! Lin Feng read out the 2 characters. This surprised him, because the Count of the Wind was no ordinary person. The Count of the Wind was in existence from the era of titled gods. The 9th Count of the Wind had controlled the Grand Tao of Wind. The Count of the Wind was very powerful, and he had once been glorious. This was especially true for the first Count of the Wind, who had been one of the strongest titled gods. Although the later Counts of the Wind couldn't compare to the first Count of the Wind, all of their accomplishments were extraordinary. The fact that they had been able to inherit the title of Count of the Wind was enough to show how powerful they had been. Were all the people who died here titled gods? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Then, he looked at the broken words on the ancient map. Many of the characters couldn't be seen clearly, but the Demon Lord was able to make out some of the contents. 2 rivers, 2 cauldrons, 3 mountains, 3 cauldrons. What did these intermittent words mean? What secrets did they hide? Lin Feng didn't know what was going on, but he had the feeling that there were many secrets hidden in those words. What did these secrets have to do with the situation before him? At that moment, Lin Feng suddenly felt his blood begin to flow at an unprecedented speed. Sudden impulse. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. He didn't sense any danger, but his sudden impulse ability had been activated. This meant there was an unimaginable danger approaching. What kind of danger was it? Quick, get close to the left wall. The stone armor can fuse with the wall, the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng nodded. He walked toward the left wall and pressed his body against it. In truth, when the Demon Lord said that the stone armor could fuse with the wall, it didn't mean that the stone armor could completely fuse with the wall. It meant that, in the eyes of some special creatures, Lin Feng wearing the stone armor was actually a wall. If it could interfere with the vision of those creatures, why would it cause such a visual difference? Lin Feng wasn't particularly sure. The stone armor completely covered Lin Feng's body, and only Lin Feng's eyes were exposed. However, the stone armor was very special, and it gave off a special aura. That special aura, it even covered Lin Feng's eyes. That way, those special creatures would not be able to sense it. Lin Feng's eyes. Even the slightest rustling of the wind, but strangely, to be sure, Lin T. That made him feel puzzled. Could it be that sudden inspiration sometimes made a mistake? Just as Lin Feng had this thought, he suddenly smelled a fishy smell coming from the entrance of the cave. That stench was very pungent. After smelling it, one would have a nauseating feeling. Something is really coming. What the hell is it? Lin Feng's expression was extremely solemn. He didn't see what the hell it was. He could only tell from the pungent smell that the terrifying existence had arrived here. Perhaps that existence was searching for his whereabouts. Crack! Suddenly, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. Lin Feng saw that 3 meters away from him, a bone had been crushed under his foot. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng suddenly revealed a look of horror. The terrifying existence hidden in the dark was right next to him. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt his body turn cold. Something was approaching him. That was why he had such a feeling. Obviously, the thing approaching him was the mysterious existence hidden in the dark that he was extremely afraid of. Lin Feng couldn't see what that existence was doing right now. The only thing Lin Feng could do now was to wait in torment. He prayed that he wouldn't be discovered by that terrifying existence. Lin Feng didn't move at all. Even his breathing had stopped. He was afraid of being discovered by that terrifying existence. Fortunately, Lin Feng's luck wasn't bad. That terrifying existence didn't seem to have discovered Lin Feng. The main reason was that Shuri had played an extremely crucial role in helping Lin Feng conceal himself. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to completely avoid that terrifying existence's perception. Lin Feng knew that he couldn't move yet because that existence hadn't left yet. That fellow was indeed terrifying. However, it had obviously forgotten that the fishy smell emitted from its body would alert others of its impending arrival. Perhaps the existence hidden in the dark had thought of some ways to conceal the fishy smell, but it had ultimately failed. Lin Feng continued to patiently wait for that terrifying existence to leave. While waiting, Lin Feng was also on tenterhooks. After all, that terrifying existence was simply too powerful. It would be terrible if it discovered him. Roar! Suddenly, that terrifying existence let out a low roar. It didn't show itself, so Lin Feng didn't know what kind of existence it was. That terrifying existence seemed to have discovered something special. Therefore, it didn't stay outside and quickly rushed outside. In the blink of an eye, that fishy smell had disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng relied on the fishy smell in the air to determine whether that terrifying existence was here or not. Therefore, when the smell disappeared, Lin Feng felt that the terrifying existence had left. Just as he was about to let out a sigh of relief, the Demon Lord transmitted his voice to him. Don't act rashly. After hearing the Demon Lord's warning, Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly. At this time, the Demon Lord actually told him not to act rashly. That terrifying existence might not have left yet. As expected. In the next moment, clouds of black fog filled the air. The black fog contained a sinister and terrifying aura. At the same time, Lin Feng heard a low roar again. That monster hadn't left. It was only pretending to leave before going into hibernation. This gave Lin Feng a big fright. He originally thought that the monster wouldn't be able to conceal the fishy smell. Chapter 49-38. Lin Feng felt a lingering fear in his heart. Fortunately, nothing bad had happened, so he was still safe. Perhaps that monster really couldn't find its target here. Thus, he quickly rushed out. Lin Feng saw a cloud of black fog rolling and dissipating at the end of the passage. That monster should have left. To be safe, Lin Feng decided to continue observing for a while. Thus, Lin Feng didn't move. He waited for 2 hours, and when he was sure that the monster didn't appear again, Lin Feng finally relaxed. Demon Lord, what was that thing? Lin Feng asked telepathically. That unknown monster made him feel a threat he had never felt before. One could imagine that the monster was definitely an existence so powerful that it made people pale with fright. However, he didn't know what that monster was. Lin Feng was very curious about that monster, but he couldn't see its true appearance. Perhaps the Demon Lord knew. It's a heavenly oasis beast, the Demon Lord said. Heavenly oasis beast? What's that? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel stunned. This was the first time he had heard of such a creature. Even the classic of mountains and seas didn't seem to have any information about it. However, after thinking about it, he understood. In this epoch, countless powerful beasts had been born. Even the classic of mountains and seas only recorded a small portion of the beasts. The classic of mountains and seas didn't record the majority of the beasts. Thus, there were many unknown beasts. Those beasts were often abnormally powerful, but no one knew what they were called or where they came from. The Demon Lord explained. This is an extremely terrifying beast. There are two different types of heavenly oasis beasts. One type controls the power of darkness, while the other controls the power of light. However, both types are extremely ferocious. These heavenly oasis beasts are definitely not to be trifled with. Their methods are unimaginable. Back then, when there were many heavenly oasis beasts, they stirred up trouble outside and fed on titled gods. Many titled gods were killed. Hearing up to here, Lin Feng could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Heavenly oasis beast. Wasn't this a little too cruel? Feeding on titled gods? It was unimaginably terrifying. It was hard to imagine just how powerful a heavenly ethereal beast must be to be able to feed on a titled god. The Demon Lord continued. The top experts among the titled gods were furious and decided to join forces with other titled gods to besiege the heavenly void beast. That battle could be said to be extremely tragic. A large number of titled gods fell in the battle to besiege the heavenly void beast. However, after that battle, the heavenly void beast also suffered an unprecedented injury. The heavenly void beast suffered heavy casualties and completely disappeared from the stage of history after that battle. After that, the heavenly void beast did not appear for a long time. However, in some dangerous places, there might still be heavenly void beasts that have been struggling to survive until now, or perhaps some descendants of the heavenly void beast from back then. Clearly, that heavenly void beast was the kind of heavenly void beast that the Demon Lord was talking about. Perhaps it was a heavenly void beast that had survived the great battle and was struggling to survive until now, or perhaps it was a descendant of the heavenly void beast from back then. Lin Feng said, These ferocious void beasts are simply natural killers. They hide in the void and can launch a sure-kill attack on their enemies. It's not easy to deal with them, but fortunately, these ferocious void beasts have disappeared. As Lin Feng spoke, he checked the condition of the skeletons. All of the skeletons had already decayed, and some of the skeletons had tokens hanging on them. The craftsmanship was very similar to the tokens that Lin Feng had seen before. Lin Feng looked at some of the tokens and was shocked to discover that the tokens had names of titled gods written on them. There's a heavenly void beast here, and these people seem to be titled gods. Could they be the titled gods who had besieged the heavenly void beast from back then? They were no match for the heavenly void beast, so they were killed by it and finally died here? The Demon Lord said. That's one possibility, but I don't think it's that simple. It's not easy to investigate the past, and we don't have to care about how these people died or what happened to them back then. The only thing we need to care about now is to see if we can get anything good from these people. Lin Feng nodded. He took off a cultivator's storage ring and sensed it. There must be some good stuff in the storage rings of these titled gods. If they could find it, it would be a great harvest. However, when Lin Feng's divine sense entered the storage ring, he frowned slightly. The storage ring had been destroyed, and the things inside had been destroyed along with it. What a pity! There were about 20 or 30 skeletons here. Lin Feng did not count how many there were, but it was about the same number. Lin Feng checked the storage rings on the fingers of the skeletons. What made Lin Feng speechless was that the storage rings were all destroyed. Hey, this storage ring is not destroyed. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He found an undamaged storage ring, which made him very happy. Lin Feng's divine sense began to explore the storage ring. Suddenly, the ancient map that Lin Feng had obtained began to fluctuate violently. Then, another ancient map flew out from the storage ring. It seemed to want to fly out of the storage ring, but it failed to succeed after several attempts. Lin Feng sensed the ancient map, which made Lin Feng very surprised. With a thought, the ancient map immediately flew out. When the ancient map flew out, the ancient map flew out. The ancient map in Lin Feng's hand struggled, and the two ancient maps flew together. This is... Lin Feng was surprised. The two ancient maps seemed to be going through some kind of change. but it was hard to say what it was. Rays of divine light escaped from the two ancient maps. Not long after, the divine light completely wrapped the two ancient maps. Lin Feng knew that the two ancient maps should be going through some kind of change. Soon, he would know what kind of change it was. After waiting for about a quarter of an hour, the divine light dissipated. Lin Feng suddenly saw that the two pieces of the map had fused together into a single ancient map. This was the first time he had seen such a situation. Chapter 49-39. Let's go out and study it again. We can't stay here for long, the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng nodded. This place was indeed not a good place to stay, as there was no telling when the heavenly ethereal beast would return. If he was blocked here, he would be in for a lot of trouble. Lin Feng put the map away and didn't stay there any longer. He quickly left. Lin Feng left the Blackstone Mountains without a hitch. He found a secluded place and took out the ancient map. The map was very special, and the lines on it were rather complicated. Lin Feng let the Demon Lord take a look, and the Demon Lord said, "The text from before is still there, but there seems to be some extra text." The text from before was 2 rivers, 2 cauldrons, 3 mountains, 3 cauldrons. Lin Feng remembered these words very clearly. Lin Feng asked, "What do these extra words mean?" "Wei River Lakeside Wei River," the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng frowned slightly. What did Wei River Lakeside Wei River mean? Suddenly, Lin Feng thought of Shenong's residence. The Middle Holy Continent had a Wei River lakeside, and it was rumored that Shenong had taken root there. Wei River Lake is a huge lake, and the river that flows out from it is the Wei River, the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng nodded and asked, "Could this map be related to Shenong?" The Demon Lord said, "It's possible. After all, Shenong used to live here by the Wei River." Lin Feng scanned the items in the storage ring with his divine sense. There was a large pile of high-grade immortal stones, most likely used by that cultivator for cultivation. There were also many other natural treasures, but what really caught Lin Feng's attention was a stone cauldron. He summoned it. "Shenong made this stone cauldron, and it's very similar to the one I obtained before," Lin Feng said in shock. The reason he knew it was Shenong's cauldron was because many of the runes on it were the same. However, this cauldron had been damaged. Although it hadn't shattered, there were many cracks on it. Those cracks were huge and extremely deep. If he used just a little bit of his power on the cauldron, it would probably shatter. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw the cauldron. It seemed that it was only a matter of time before the cauldron was destroyed. The Demon Lord said, "He has Shenong's cauldron and has a map." Lin Feng suddenly thought of the celestial martial continent, the old farmer who had protected the immemorial oath of allegiance. However, the old farmer's substandard Shenong cauldron should be much more powerful than the other ones. It should be very close to the real Shenong cauldron. Perhaps the old man was also a descendant of Shenong? However, Lin Feng was unable to return to the martial heaven continent, so he naturally couldn't ask about this matter. "Perhaps I'll only be able to find out more about Shenong after I reach the Middle Sacred Prefecture," Lin Feng couldn't help but say. He put away the ancient map, the broken stone cauldron, and the spatial ring. The Demon Lord said, "Then we'll wait until we reach the Middle Sacred Prefecture to explore its secrets." The Middle Sacred Prefecture was the territory of the Heavenly Court. Lin Feng couldn't go there for the time being. He was on the Heavenly Court's must-kill list. If he went there now, he would definitely die. Furthermore, there was a deep enmity between the Demon Lord and the Heavenly Emperor. Now that he was far from the Middle Sacred Prefecture, the Demon Lord could use some special methods to avoid the Heavenly Emperor's detection. Once he reached the Middle Sacred Prefecture and got closer to the Heavenly Emperor, he might not be able to avoid the Heavenly Emperor's detection. If the Heavenly Emperor sensed him, it would be a disaster. One had to know how to judge the situation. One had to know how to act according to one's ability. Whatever ability one had to do the corresponding thing. Right now, Lin Feng's main goal was to increase his own strength. Only by becoming stronger would he be able to face all kinds of difficulties. Lin Feng rested for a day. Then he returned to the Western Paradise City. Lin Feng wanted to see Yun Tianyu and ask him about the ancient survivors as well as Yao Guang's whereabouts. Right now, Lin Feng was very concerned about Feng Yaoguang. After arriving at the Western Paradise City, Lin Feng went to the all-knowing pavilion. Shui Yuexin hadn't returned yet. If she were to travel alone, her speed might be slower. Lin Feng inquired about Yun Tianyu, but Yun Tianyu hadn't arrived yet. Right now, many factions were targeting Yun Tianyu. Naturally, they wouldn't let him go so easily, especially the 8th-level palace. In fact, some people said that the 8th-level palace was the #1 faction in the minor Western Paradise region, while others said that the Western Paradise Immortal sect was the #1 faction. However, it was hard to say which one was the #1 faction. Needless to say, the 8th-level palace had a strong foundation and the support of the Heavenly Court. Therefore, this faction was very powerful. This was also why so many people thought that the 8th-level palace was the #1 faction. As for the Western Paradise Immortal sect, it had existed much earlier than the 8th-level palace and was considered an old faction. Back then, before the 8th-level palace had risen, the Western Paradise Immortal sect was already one of the strongest factions in the minor Western Paradise region. When the 8th-level palace rose, the Western Paradise Immortal sect was already the #1 faction in the minor Western Paradise region. As time passed, many major factions disappeared in the long river of history. However, the Western Paradise Immortal sect and the 8th-level palace had continued to exist until now. Nobody knew when it started, but more and more people thought that the Western Paradise Immortal sect was no longer the #1 faction in the minor Western Paradise region and that the 8th-level palace had replaced it. The Western Paradise Immortal sect had been relatively low-key in recent years and didn't pay attention to these discussions. Chapter 49-40. After leaving the Baishao Pavilion, Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his chin. He had a grudge against young Master Mingyu. In fact, it wasn't just young Master Mingyu. The entire Baji Palace had a grudge against him. They had a hostile relationship to begin with. However, Lin Feng had yet to exchange blows with young Master Mingyu. When he first met young Master Mingyu, Lin Feng still had to look up to him. At that time, young Master Mingyu was indeed too powerful. But now, Lin Feng's cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. Naturally, he was no longer afraid of young Master Mingyu. But Lin Feng also knew that if he really fought against Mr. Mingyu, it would be difficult to say what would happen because Lin Feng's cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds and Mr. Mingyu's cultivation had also increased by leaps and bounds. If I can quickly advance to the Earth Immortal Realm, these peak-level geniuses of the undying world will be nothing. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He was still in the worldly immortal realm. Lin Feng's foundation was actually stronger than those peak-level geniuses of the undying world. The only thing that Lin Feng couldn't compare to those peak-level geniuses of the undying world was his cultivation level. However, this was nothing. Lin Feng believed that his cultivation level would rise very soon. Lin Feng walked towards his residence. On the way, he saw a girl. When he saw the girl, Lin Feng immediately gnashed his teeth. The girl looked to be about 16 or 17 years old. She had a charming appearance, and was so beautiful that it made people's hearts pound. This girl was none other than the girl Lin Feng saw in the Blackstone Mountains. That girl was clearly an incomparably two-faced person. Back then, he was tricked by her. Now, he finally found a chance to take revenge. The girl seemed to be very curious about everything around her. From time to time, she would rummage through the stalls on the side of the road. However, she just wouldn't buy anything. This caused many stall owners to roll their eyes. Lin Feng walked towards the girl with big strides. At this moment, the girl picked up a jade hairpin and said, "I want this." "How much is it?" 1,000 immortal stones, the stall owner said, wanting to ruthlessly rip this girl off. "Only 1,000? Are you looking down on me? I'll give you 10,000, the girl said. The stall owner's eyes widened. What was going on? Who would complain that things were cheap? Even Lin Feng almost fell to the ground after hearing her words. When Lin Feng reached out to grab her, she quickly jumped away as if she had eyes on the back of her head. Then, he said to the stall owner, "This guy is my follower. Ask him for money." After saying that, he ran away. Lin Feng was about to give chase. The stall owner grabbed Lin Feng and said, "Don't go, that little girl, no, that fairy said that the jade hairpin was worth 10,000 immortal stones, you should have heard it right? Hurry up and give me the immortal stones." That little girl was really too two-faced. She had probably discovered Lin Feng long ago, and then set up a trap for Lin Feng to fall into. Lin Feng struggled free from the stall owner and said, "Give your sister, I don't know her." After saying that, Lin Feng chased in the direction that the little girl ran away. "He's robbing! How dare he rob someone on the street in broad daylight? Hurry up and help me stop him!" After the stall owner put away the things on the stall, he chased after Lin Feng. Many people were watching the show from the side, but where would they find anyone to help? It was not so easy to help in the cultivation world. Because there were many people in the cultivation world that you could not afford to offend. If you angered those people, you might die miserably. This kind of situation was too common in the cultivation world. Lin Feng realized that the little girl ran away again. He had to admit that this two-faced little girl was especially crafty. Her escaping skill was definitely top-notch. "Don't let me catch you. If I catch you, I'll make your ass bloom in minutes," Lin Feng said while gnashing his teeth. He rarely suffered losses, but he was played twice by that little girl. Lin Feng was naturally very depressed, but what could he do? He could not catch that two-faced little girl. Other than helplessness, there was only helplessness. After returning to his residence, Lin Feng began to comprehend the magical ability of Heavenly Buddha that he had obtained before. Lin Feng would try to comprehend this magical ability if he had time during this period of time, but this magical ability was very complicated. It was not so easy to comprehend it. Even with Lin Feng's means, he was only at the beginner level. If he wanted to display the power of this powerful magical ability, he must at least comprehend this powerful magical ability to the small success stage, or even the large success stage, but this was not an easy thing to do. At night, Lin Feng suddenly heard a knock on the door. Lin Feng woke up from his cultivation. He could not help but frown slightly. Who was this? Knocking on the door in the middle of the night? Could it be a female cultivator who did massage? Lin Feng knew that these high-end residences often had such services. These female cultivators not only had high cultivation, but they also had good figures and beautiful appearances. Their skills were also quite good. Of course, massage was only the basic service. If he wanted other services, he had to have enough immortal stones. If he did not have enough immortal stones, he could only stare helplessly. "The night is long. Should I find someone to massage me?" Lin Feng could not help but mutter. He went outside. He opened the courtyard door. Just as he opened the door, a delicate body threw itself into Lin Feng's arms. "Damn, so crazy? So passionate? Beauty, at least let me see what you look like first before deciding whether I want your service or not." Lin Feng could not help but wail in his heart. But in the next moment, he felt that something was wrong because he smelled blood. This woman was not a masseuse. There was blood on her back. Lin Feng felt blood. "Save me!" The woman raised her head, revealing her delicate face. After seeing this beautiful little face, Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. It was actually the little girl who had bowed to him twice in a row. Now that she was seriously injured, she came to his place. Did she know that he lived here? Lin Feng quickly closed the courtyard door and carried the little girl. He entered the room and tore open the clothes on the little girl's back. Immediately, he saw a piercing wound on her back. The wound was only as thin as a strand of hair, but it was obvious that it had injured her internal organs. What kind of weapon caused this wound? It's actually so thin? Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. Chapter 49-41. Lin Feng took out an immortal healing pill and fed it to the girl. He channeled his magic power into the girl's body and helped her recover from the effects of the immortal healing pill in her body. With the help of the immortal healing pill, her breathing became much more stable. But at this moment, Lin Feng frowned and looked outside. Then, he stood up and went outside. Before he left, he used a seal to protect the room to prevent anyone from sneaking in. When they arrived outside, they saw that there were clouds of black gas in the courtyard. Then, the balls of black chi turned into cultivators. There were a total of 13 of them. They were all wearing black armor and had swords at their waists. Even their heads were covered with helmets. The leader had a black cloak. "It's the middle of the night. What are you doing here?" Lin Feng glanced at them indifferently. "Kill him," the leader of the cultivators said. His voice was as cold as ice, like the voice of the Grim Reaper from hell. Lin Feng's face darkened slightly. These people are really a group of people who kill without batting an eyelid. One of the armored cultivators stepped out, drew his sword, and slashed at Lin Feng. After feeling the terrifying power of the sword, Lin Feng was shocked. That sword was so powerful. Lin Feng felt that it was close to the attack of a true immortal. Who are these people? How are they so strong? Are they the people who are chasing after the girl in the room? Of course. The armored cultivator was strong. But he was not in Lin Feng's eyes. Lin Feng quickly moved to the left. The armored cultivator's sword strike struck nothing but air. Then, Lin Feng leaped out and arrived in front of the armored cultivator in an instant. He punched at the armored cultivator. Bang! The powerful punch landed on the armored cultivator's chest. A shocking scene appeared. Many talismans appeared on the armor, and surprisingly, it managed to block Lin Feng's punch. The armored cultivator laughed sinisterly and was about to attack Lin Feng. But Lin Feng was faster. He punched again, and this time, it landed on the armored cultivator's face. Bang! Accompanied by a dull sound of collision, the armored cultivator was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. Lin Feng's punch was so powerful that it made the armored cultivator dizzy. After all, the helmet could not completely protect the face like the armor on the body. But the helmet was extraordinary and blocked most of the attack. The cultivator quickly recovered. "This armor and helmet is good. Its defense is amazing," Lin Feng said. "I didn't expect that there would be a young expert like you in this lowly world. You really surprised me." At this moment, the leader of the cultivators said, "Cultivators from a lowly world? Where did you come from? Celestial realm, chaotic bound of Xianhuang realm, underworld, wasteland? Or creatures from other realms?" Lin Feng frowned and asked. As a half-higher realm, the Undying Realm was an extremely high-level world in this era. Apart from the worlds that Lin Feng mentioned, the other worlds could not compare to the Undying Realm. But since these people said that the Undying Realm was a lowly world, they must have come from one of the worlds that Lin Feng mentioned. Hearing Lin Feng's question, the cultivator sneered and said, "Do you think you have the right to know where we came from?" As soon as he said that, the cultivator waved his hand again. Instantly, the 12 cultivators behind him surrounded Lin Feng. These guys. They were strong, and the defense of their armor and helmets was also very terrifying. It would not be easy to kill them. But he was not without weaknesses. The armor did protect his body, but the helmet had a weakness because the eyes were exposed. In fact, the ruler's armor was the same. After all, he needed to see the situation outside. If the eyes were also closed, wouldn't he be blind with his eyes open? "Kid, die!" said an armored cultivator, smiling coldly. He raised his sword and moved towards Lin Feng. "Kid, die!" The rest of the armored cultivators also raised their battle swords and rushed towards Lin Feng. These armored warriors cooperated with each other and attacked Lin Feng together. This time, Lin Feng was in a dangerous situation. Lin Feng sneered and then activated his domineering magnetic field. 4 times domineering magnetic field. He instantly used it. The powerful domineering magnetic field enveloped the 12 armored cultivators. The bodies of the 12 armored cultivators were instantly bound. Their bodies were greatly restricted, and their speed plummeted, making it difficult for them to move. And at this moment, 5 stone swords, golden flying sword, black dragon sword, no death sword, spring and autumn sword, broken sword, and other treasured swords. All of them flew out. Lin Feng multitasked and controlled those treasured swords to kill the 12 armored warriors. Those armored warriors were caught off guard by Lin Feng's domineering magnetic field. If they were given time to completely circulate their magic power, they might be able to recover a lot of their battle strength and speed. In this way, they might be able to block Lin Feng's attack. However, Lin Feng did not give them time to counterattack. The moment they were restricted by the domineering magnetic field, the treasured swords had already flown out. Puff! 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 The sound of tearing could be heard. The treasured swords pierced through the heads of those cultivators from their eyes. Then, those treasured swords were summoned back by Lin Feng. Plop! Plop! Corpses fell to the ground one by one. The 12 armored cultivators were all killed by Lin Feng. You! Seeing his 12 subordinates killed, the leader of the cultivators trembled in anger. Lin Feng said, "Don't think that you're superior just because you're from a supreme world. This world is a world where strength is respected, not background. A bunch of self-righteous fellows." Good. 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 The leader of the cultivators said the word good 3 times in a row. One could see how angry he was in his heart. His eyes flashed with dense killing intent. He asked, "I don't kill nameless people. What's your name?" "You don't have the right to know," Lin Feng said indifferently. This was what the leader of the cultivators had said before, but Lin Feng retorted, "I admit that you have some ability, but compared to me, you're still far from being able to compete." The leader of the cultivators sneered. He drew his battle sword and slashed at Lin Feng. Lin Feng held the black dragon sword in his hand and met the attack fearlessly. Clang! Lin Feng's black dragon sword and the leader's battle sword collided fiercely. Suddenly, an earth-shaking sound of collision was heard. Fortunately, there were restrictions protecting them. Otherwise, many people would have been attracted. Chapter 49-42. The little girl in the lead was really terrifying. The battle prowess she displayed shocked Lin Feng. This guy's realm must be extremely high. Generally, when experts make a move, they would generally know the level of the opponent's battle prowess. Lin Feng knew that his chances of winning against this terrifying existence in front of him were relatively small. However, his chances of winning were relatively small, but it didn't mean that there was no chance of winning. The magic lotus, ruler's armor, external incarnation, and the power of the golden dwarf were all mobilized by Lin Feng. After receiving the buff, Lin Feng's battle prowess suddenly increased greatly. "After fighting, I found out that you are even stronger than I imagined. So powerful, so young, yet you have such battle prowess. Even in my world, I have only seen a dozen cultivators like you." The leading cultivator's voice was indifferent. He walked towards Lin Feng step by step, his eyes flashing with dense killing intent. His words made Lin Feng very surprised. This cultivator had seen more than a dozen cultivators like him. The higher realms obviously had more powerhouses than the Undying Realm, and there were also more geniuses than the Undying Realm. Although he didn't know which world this guy came from, it could only be one of those ancient worlds. At this time, the leading cultivator continued, "Now let's end all of this." As his voice fell, the leading terrifying existence waved his sword and slashed towards Lin Feng again. The power of the leading cultivator's sword was naturally incomparably terrifying. Facing the terrifying sword of the leading cultivator, Lin Feng didn't choose to take it head-on. He used a teleportation technique. Swish! With a flash of light, Lin Feng disappeared from where he was. The leading cultivator's sword slashed at empty space. Lin Feng appeared behind the leading cultivator and slashed at him with his sword. Success! Lin Feng's eyes lit up slightly. Seeing that Lin Feng's sword was about to kill the leading cultivator actually turned around and slashed at Lin Feng. His reaction was simply too fast. Moreover, not only was his reaction fast, the speed of his attack was also unbelievably fast. Therefore, when the leading cultivator blocked Lin Feng's attack, the moment the two swords collided, the leading cultivator turned around and slapped at Lin Feng. Lin Feng and the leading cultivator's palm collided, and a powerful force surged into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng felt as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain. That feeling was too painful. Lin Feng almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Feng's body was blown away. It took him a long time to stop. Amazing! Amazing! What's your cultivation level? You've definitely surpassed Essence Immortal. Could you be a Tao Immortal expert? Lin Feng took a deep breath and looked at the cultivator. The four golden sage immortals of the Essence Tao. Now that Lin Feng had fused with the magic lotus, the ruler's armor, the external incarnation, and the golden dwarf, he felt that even if his combat strength had not reached the peak of the Essence Immortal realm, he should be able to reach the 7th or 8th firmament of the Essence Immortal realm. In addition, Lin Feng's physical body and divine abilities were relatively powerful. Therefore, he should not be at a disadvantage when facing cultivators at the 9th or 10th firmament of the Essence Immortal realm. However, in front of this cultivator, Lin Feng was at a disadvantage. This was enough to explain many things. Lin Feng felt that this fellow should be a Tao Immortal expert. Of course, even if he was at the Tao Immortal realm, he was probably only at the early stage. If he was at the mid-stage or high-level Tao Immortal level, Lin Feng would probably be crushed. However, although Lin Feng was not a match for this person, he had not been crushed by this person yet. You're very smart to be able to guess my strength. Next, I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate skill. This expert looked at Lin Feng with a sinister and terrifying gaze. Then, he raised his sword vertically in front of him. Then, he shouted in a low voice, "Dark Cross Slash!" As soon as he finished speaking, he slashed out a cross mark in the void. Two swords she formed a cross slash and directly slashed towards Lin Feng. When the cross sword she quickly slashed towards him, Lin Feng's hair stood on end. He felt a dense killing intent from the cross slash. This was definitely an extremely heaven-defying divine ability. Now, it was being used by this expert. Lin Feng knew that he had to carefully deal with this terrifying attack. Or else, he might die a terrible death. Lin Feng held the Black Dragon's sword in his hand and tried to communicate with the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon's sword. The Black Dragon's sword was still enchanted with several seals. A special method was needed to unlock the seals. The more seals that were unlocked, the more powerful the Black Dragon's sword would be. Other than unlocking the seals to increase the power of the Black Dragon's sword, the best way to increase the power of the Black Dragon's sword was to awaken the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon's sword. Once the weapon spirit was awakened, the power of any magic treasure would increase greatly. Roar! A dragon's roar came from within the Black Dragon's sword. The weapon spirit of the Black Dragon's sword was a black dragon. Now that the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon's sword had awakened, the power of the Black Dragon's sword began to increase greatly. Lin Feng held the Black Dragon's sword in his hand and directly swept towards the cross sword she that the opponent had slashed out. Clang! Along with the clanging sound of collision, Lin Feng's Black Dragon's sword collided fiercely with the opponent's cross sword chi. What made Lin Feng feel terrified was that even after activating the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon's sword, he was still forced back by the opponent's terrifying attack. The web between Lin Feng's thumb and forefinger was cracked. Fresh blood immediately flowed out. A Tao Immortal Realm expert was actually so terrifying. Even if he was only a beginner Tao Immortal, he was so terrifying that people couldn't help but be shocked. It's all over! After that cultivator repelled Lin Feng, he directly jumped up. He held the battle sword in his hand and charged towards Lin Feng, wanting to kill Lin Feng. At this moment of incomparable danger, behind the cultivator, a figure appeared without a sound. The Demon Lord. The Demon Lord had appeared. The Demon Lord blasted a palm towards this cultivator. This cultivator clearly sensed the dangerous aura behind him. He turned around and swept his sword towards the demon lord. Yao Jun, on the other hand, quickly changed his attack style. He caught the opponent's sword with both hands. This cultivator wanted to pull out the battle sword, but he couldn't do it. At this moment, Lin Feng had already arrived behind him. Lin Feng knew that the defense of his armor was astonishing, so Lin Feng didn't choose to attack his body. Lin Feng jumped up, and the strength of the dragon elephant arm completely erupted, and then punched towards the opponent's head. Bang! Accompanied by the sound of a violent collision, Lin Feng's powerful punch fiercely smashed on the opponent's head. The power of the dragon elephant arm was really too violent. The cultivator's head was actually smashed into his chest by Lin Feng's punch. Chapter 49-43. Huff, huff, huff! Lin Feng panted violently. After seeing the corpse on the ground, Lin Feng felt a lingering fear. This guy was really too terrifying. If it wasn't for the demon lord, it would have been dangerous enough today. Moreover, this guy must have many powerful methods that he hadn't used yet. However, he didn't have the chance to use those methods now. The demon lord then dissipated. He returned to the demon bead. Lin Feng didn't thank the demon lord because there was no need for thanks between him and the demon lord. This guy's source energy should still be useful to me. It can definitely improve my cultivation. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He took out the heavenly fire and burned the corpse of the Tao immortal expert to ashes. In the end, only the source energy, armor, helmet, and storage ring were left. Then, Lin Feng burned the corpses of the other 12 cultivators into ashes. Their source energy was preserved. Lin Feng couldn't use their source energy, but he could give it to others. Those armors were all good treasures, but Lin Feng had a supreme treasure like the ruler's armor. Therefore, he couldn't use those armors, but Lin Feng could also give them to others or sell them. However, Lin Feng planned to form his own personal guard in the future. There didn't need to be many people, but they had to be experts. When the time came, each person would have a piece of armor and a helmet. At that time, their combat strength would definitely increase greatly. Of course, forming a personal guard was only a preliminary idea. It would take some time to implement this idea. Moreover, Lin Feng hadn't found a suitable candidate to join his personal guard. Lin Feng didn't want to recruit ordinary cultivators or older cultivators. Lin Feng wanted to recruit those young and powerful cultivators to be his personal guard. He could also train them at the same time. However, Lin Feng also knew how difficult it was to find such people. This couldn't be rushed. He needed to find a suitable candidate while waiting. After dealing with these guys, Lin Feng returned to his room. He checked the black-bellied girl's condition and found that her injuries had stabilized a lot, but she still didn't wake up. It seemed that it would take some time for her to wake up. Now was the critical period of her recovery. This girl had fair skin and a cute face. Anyone who saw this girl couldn't help but have some improper thoughts about her. However, this girl was too black-bellied. Lin Feng was extremely speechless. When this girl woke up, Lin Feng felt that this girl's origin might be frightening. The next day, Lin Feng once again returned to the room where the black-bellied girl was resting. When he came here, the black-bellied girl was still sleeping. After waiting for a while, Lin Feng found that the black-bellied girl's eyelashes fluttered slightly. It seemed that the black-bellied girl should be about to wake up. Seeing that the black-bellied girl was about to wake up, Lin Feng came to the bedside and used a restriction to seal the black-bellied girl's spiritual power. Not long after Lin Feng sealed the black-bellied girl's spiritual power, the black-bellied girl opened her eyes. She first looked at the ceiling in confusion, but then seemed to remember what happened before. The black-bellied girl quickly turned her head and saw Lin Feng looking at her with a smirk. The black-bellied girl patted her full chest. It seemed that she was still alive. Thank the heavens. Name, where are you from? Your measurements, quickly report it! Lin Feng looked at the black-bellied girl and said. The black-bellied girl rolled her eyes and then shouted loudly. Help, help, a stinky rogue is bullying me! At the same time, she jumped down from the bed, wanting to escape. However, she discovered that her mana had been sealed. The black-bellied girl's face suddenly became extremely ugly. Lin Feng said, "You don't have to shout. There is a restriction here. Even if you shout until your throat is broken, people outside can't hear you. In addition, I have sealed your spiritual power. Now you are completely my prisoner. Handsome brother, how can you do this to me? My mother died when I was 3 years old, and my father died when I was 5 years old. I am alone, and I am being chased. I am so pitiful, but you still want to bully me." The black-bellied girl became more and more sad as she spoke. She even shed tears as she spoke. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. He naturally did not believe the black-bellied girl's words. There was no truth in her mouth at all. Lin Feng said, "Name, where are you from? Your measurements? Don't make me say it again. If you don't answer me honestly, I will personally check it." The black-bellied girl suddenly gnashed her teeth. Now she couldn't wait to directly punch Lin Feng half to death. But thinking of the current situation, she could only temporarily submit to Lin Feng. The black-bellied girl said, "My name is Lung Zishi, a native cultivator of the undead world. As for your measurements, I really don't know, because I have never measured it before." Lin Feng, of course, was just teasing this girl. He didn't really want to know this girl's measurements. But this girl's answer was obviously not truthful. Let's not talk about her measurements for the time being. Let's talk about the origin of this black-bellied girl. She said that she was a native of the undead world. Lin Feng naturally did not believe such nonsense. The people chasing after her were from a higher world. Lin Feng did not believe that those from a higher world would wander around the undead world for no reason. Lin Feng said, "Do you know what happened when you were unconscious?" "What happened?" Lung Zishi asked. "The people chasing after you came to my place," Lin Feng said. Lung Zishi clearly showed an extremely shocked expression when she heard that. Lin Feng continued, "Such powerful experts are chasing after you, yet you came to my place. Are you trying to drag me down with you?" Lung Zishi looked at Lin Feng with a pitiful gaze and said, "How would I know that those people would chase after me? You still dare to quibble? Do you want to have a taste of my methods of punishing people?" Lin Feng carefully sized up Lung Zishi's enchanting figure. Lung Zishi's face paled when she saw Lin Feng's gaze. She said, "I'll tell you the truth. Don't touch me." "All right, tell me the truth," Lin Feng said. "I know that you are very powerful and have a good character. You will definitely not leave me in the lurch. If those people came after me, you will definitely protect me," Lung Zishi said. Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "Don't flatter me. It's useless. I'm telling the truth," Lung Zishi hurriedly said. Lin Feng did not continue the conversation on this matter. Instead, he said, "Celestial realm, chaos-bound, netherworld, wasteland, and otherworld. You should be from one of these 5 worlds, right? Which world are you from?" Chapter 49-44. Lung Zishi's eyes flickered slightly. Clearly, this girl was going to fabricate more lies. Lying was a common thing for her. It was unknown how she had developed such a habit. Of course, Lin Feng did not expose her. Instead, he wanted to hear what she had to say. Lung Zishi said, "I have indeed heard of the places you mentioned, but I have never been there. I'm really a native of the undying world," Lin Feng said. "I've already killed those who came to kill you. You probably don't know about this, right? You killed them? Is that true?" Lung Zishi became excited when she heard Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng was speechless. Not only was Lung Zishi two-faced, but she was also like a little witch who feared nothing. Lin Feng said, "I have no reason to lie to you. Although those people didn't directly say which world you came from, they said that you came from a higher world. You'd better tell me your origin honestly. I'll give you one last chance. If you don't tell me, I plan to turn you from a young girl into a married woman." You shameless." Lung Zishi was frightened by Lin Feng's words. No matter how two-faced she was still a woman. Women, on the other hand, were at a disadvantage compared to men. Lin Feng said, "Thank you for your praise. Now you can tell me your origin." Leng Zishi placed her hands on her hips and said, "I'm afraid that you will be scared to death if I tell you my origin." "Don't worry, I won't be scared to death," Lin Feng said indifferently. Leng Zishi snorted and said, "Just as you said, I come from a higher world. I come from the wasteland world." Lin Feng's eyes lit up when he heard Leng Zishi's words. Wasteland. It was a well-known name. Lin Feng had heard of the wasteland countless times. Even now, Lin Feng didn't know much about the wasteland, mainly because he didn't have the means to understand the wasteland. He had always wanted to know what kind of world the wasteland was. Now, he finally saw the opportunity to understand the wasteland. He could get some specific information about the wasteland from Leng Zishi. "Why are those people chasing you?" Lin Feng asked. "Because I obtained the 9 nether bird, that's why they chased after me." "They want my 9 nether bird," Leng Zishi said. Lin Feng had naturally heard of the 9 nether bird before. It was an extremely heaven-defying creature that could contend against a true dragon. Once it matured, its power would be unimaginable. There were no traces of the 9 nether bird in the mortal world or even the undying realm. At most, there were only a few creatures with the 9 nether bird's bloodline. However, those creatures were not the real 9 nether bird. Compared to the real 9 nether bird, there was a huge difference. However, Lin Feng knew that the 9 nether bird that Leng Zishi was talking about was most likely a pure-blooded 9 nether bird. Otherwise, why would the experts of the wasteland chase after her? A pure-blooded 9 nether bird was as powerful as a pure-blooded true dragon. When it matured in the future, its battle strength would be incomparably heaven-defying. "What kind of forces are they from?" Lin Feng asked. "They're from the Darkness Empire," Leng Zishi said. "Darkness Empire? Is that one of the forces in the wasteland world? How are the forces in the wasteland world divided?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Leng Zishi said, "The wasteland world is vast and boundless. More than 70% of it is a boundless sea. The sea is extremely terrifying because there are countless terrifying beasts living in the sea. For example, the kun whale, prehistoric dragon crocodile, great ping, and other creatures. These creatures are all creatures that have crossed epochs. Moreover, they have already solved the problem of weakening due to crossing epochs. Therefore, the sea is an absolute forbidden zone in the wasteland world. If you dare to enter the sea of the wasteland world, it's no different from courting death. Fortunately, those terrifying creatures are restricted by the laws of the wasteland world and are unable to enter the inland world. Otherwise, the inland world would be plunged into misery and suffering. The rest of the land is the land. About 80% of the land is a wasteland. These wastelands contain extremely terrifying death energy, dark energy, and other dark energy. Therefore, the land there is barren and not even a blade of grass grows. Cultivators have no way of surviving in those places. Cultivators usually gather in the big cities. Those cities have huge walls and restrictions that can withstand the attacks of many wild beasts in the wasteland world. Wild beasts? What kind of creatures are they? Lin Feng asked. Leng Zishi said, "There are 3 types of wild beasts. The first type is the wild beasts that have transcended epochs. Some of these wild beasts are strong and some are weak. Some of the kings of wild beasts are about as strong as the giants in the sea area. The second type is the wild beasts that were born in the wasteland. These wild beasts are born in the wasteland. They are born with the power of death, darkness, or other types of dark energy. They are also extremely terrifying. The third type is the normal fierce beasts that have mutated after absorbing the dark energy in the wasteland. Due to the mutation, these fierce beasts have extremely powerful battle strength. These guys will attack the towns in the wasteland from time to time, wanting to devour the practitioners inside," Lin Feng said. "In that case, the area occupied by the wasteland world's cultivators is actually very small?" Leng Zishi nodded. "You can think of it that way." "How are the forces in the wasteland world divided?" Lin Feng asked. Leng Zishi said, "There are many forces in the wasteland. In fact, many of them are extremely powerful. However, there are 10 overlord forces in the wasteland world. These 10 overlord forces are countries with centralized power. The major forces are under the command of the 10 overlord forces. These 10 overlord forces are the 10 empires. The emperors of the 10 empires are known as dominators. Every dominator has unimaginable combat strength. Those dominators are basically creatures that have transcended epochs. Moreover, they are creatures that have transcended multiple epochs. The 10 overlords represent the pinnacle of the wasteland world's combat strength. The forces attached to them basically have no second thoughts. The main reason is that the 10 great sovereigns are simply too powerful. Those forces simply don't dare to have second thoughts. This is a stark contrast to the situation of the undying world's feudal vassals. Each of the 10 great sovereigns has achieved centralization of power. Once an order is given, hundreds will respond to it. No one dares to disobey. Chapter 49-45. Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal an extremely shocked expression when he heard that. Lin Feng had actually heard the term wasteland overlord countless times. However, Lin Feng had no idea what kind of existence the wasteland overlord was. Now, however, Lin Feng knew that the wasteland overlord was actually the emperors of the wasteland's 10 ultimate empires. Moreover, the wasteland overlords were emperors with centralized authority. They were not existences that the celestial emperors could compare to. What level of experts are the 10 overlords? Lin Feng asked. I'm not sure about that. No one knows how strong they are because anyone who has fought the 10 overlords is already dead. Eras after eras have been destroyed, but they have lived on for a long time. They have weathered too many storms. Perhaps only they themselves know how strong they are. Lin Zishi said. Lin Feng asked. How many eras did they cross? Lin Zishi shook her head. Lin Feng continued asking. Are there any differences in strength among the 10 overlords? Lin Zishi said. I don't think so. Their strength should be about the same. What about the 10 empires? What's the difference in strength? Lin Feng asked. 9 of them are about the same, but there's one that's slightly weaker than the other 9. Lin Zishi said. Oh? What's that slightly weaker empire? Why is it weaker than the other empires? Lin Feng asked curiously. Lin Zishi said. The slightly weaker empire is called the Sacred Tao Empire. It's said that this empire is in turmoil. The previous overlord disappeared for some unknown reason. The current overlord is the one who succeeded the throne during the early eras. The overlord disappeared for no reason? Lin Feng revealed a look of disbelief. Lin Zishi nodded. Lin Zishi nodded and said, It's like this. Rumor has it that the previous ruler was killed by the new ruler. This new ruler is the previous ruler's junior brother. The Sacred Tao Empire should have been the strongest empire, suppressing the other 9 great empires. After all, apart from their ruler, the new ruler's junior brother is also extremely terrifying. However, with the disappearance of the previous ruler, the Sacred Tao Empire's strength has been greatly reduced. Of course, even though its strength has been greatly reduced, the empire is still incomparably terrifying. Especially after the new ruler succeeded the throne, he received the blessing of the investiture of the gods and obtained the power of heaven's will. This person has definitely undergone a transformation and cannot be underestimated. Lin Feng asked. Which empire are you from? Lin Zishi said. I'm from the Frigid Empire. It's the northernmost empire of the wasteland. Lin Feng asked. What kind of power are you from? Said Lin Zishi. The Lin clan is just a small clan. Even though my background isn't very good, my talent is shocking. Even those who come from large clans can't compare to me. Apart from my shocking talent, my luck is monstrous, and I've had many miraculous encounters. Lin Feng was speechless when he saw Lin Zishi praising herself. Lin Feng asked, Then how did you come to the undying world? Speaking of this, Lin Zishi couldn't help but sigh. She said, Back then, when I went to snatch an opportunity, I snatched a 9 nether bird egg from the cave where the 9 nether bird died. When I wanted to leave, I was blocked by the people from the Darkness Empire. I really couldn't escape, but there's always a way out. There was a teleportation array in the cave, so I activated it. When the teleportation array was activated, I was teleported out. Who would have thought that those people from the Darkness Empire would also enter the teleportation array? When I reappeared, I was already in the mountain range where we met before. That place was too frightening, and I almost died there. Lin Feng was speechless when he recalled his first meeting with Leng Zishi. He really wanted to teach her a lesson now. This two-faced girl had ruined him back then. However, teaching Leng Zishi a lesson could wait. Right now, Lin Feng still had some things to ask Leng Zishi. He continued to ask, "You said that there's a teleportation array in that mountain range that leads to the wasteland? Is that teleportation array still there?" Leng Zishi said, "That's a single-use teleportation array. It can be used to travel from the wasteland to the undying world, but it can't be used to travel from the undying world to the wasteland. In fact, this single-use teleportation array can only be used to travel from a high-level realm to a low-level realm. It can't be used to travel from a low-level realm to a high-level realm. In order to travel from a low-level realm to a high-level realm, one needs to use a special ascension passage. However, there's no ascension passage in the undying world that leads directly to the wasteland. However, from what I know, the heavenly realm, the chaotic Xianhuang realm, and the underworld all have passages that lead to the wasteland. These four realms belong to the same plane as the wasteland, so there's no ascension passage. However, I don't know where the passage to the wasteland is. Perhaps only the top experts of the three higher realms know about it." Lin Feng asked. "I heard that there's a passage connecting the foreign realms to the wasteland?" Leng Zishi nodded and said, "It's like this. However, the 10 rulers of the wasteland world are rather disgusted with the foreign creatures, so they suppress them very heavily. Therefore, the foreign creatures don't dare to brazenly head to the wasteland world." "Oh? The 10 sovereigns are disgusted with the foreign realms?" Lin Feng was surprised. This was something he hadn't thought of before. However, this was something that Lin Feng was happy to see. Lin Feng was also very disgusted with the foreign realms. The crimes of the foreign realms were too numerous to count. Their crimes were unforgivable. Leng Zishi said, "I heard that the foreign realms once invaded the wasteland on a large scale. They obviously underestimated the wasteland's strength. The kings and emperors of the foreign realms underestimated the sovereigns of the wasteland even more. After the war broke out, the foreign realms suffered a great defeat. The survivors fled back to the foreign realms. Since then, the sovereigns hated the foreign realms very much. Originally, the sovereigns wanted to join forces to seal the passage to the wasteland from the foreign realms, but they failed. Those passages are rather special and very difficult to seal. After that, the sovereigns stopped paying attention to them." "So, there are no foreign realms in the wasteland?" Lin Feng asked. Chapter 49-46. Lin Feng said, "I want to go to the wasteland." Leng Zishi shouted, "Bring me along! Bring me along! I'll protect you once we reach the wasteland. If you follow Sister Shi, no one will dare to provoke you." "Sister Shi? I think I should call you Maid Shi instead." Lin Feng reached out and pinched Leng Zishi's cheeks before pulling them away. Her pouting appearance was really cute. "Bastard! Bastard! How dare you take advantage of me? Do you believe that I won't beat you into a pig's head?" Leng Zishi shrieked. She could only vent the dissatisfaction in her heart by shouting. Lin Feng pursed his lips and said, "You are now my prisoner. Don't forget that I saved you. Otherwise, you would be a dead man. I know that you are a person who repays kindness, so you can repay me with your body. Tonight I will be your groom. From tomorrow onwards, there will be a charming and lovely young woman in this world. Shameless! Scum! Shameless! Who said I'm going to repay you with my body? Stop daydreaming!" Leng Zishi glared fiercely at Lin Feng, baring her fangs and brandishing her claws like a wild cat. Lin Feng said, "Then how do you want to repay me? How about I say thank you to you? Lin Zishi said. Lin Feng's mouth twitched violently when he heard Lin Zishi's words. How could this two-faced girl be so thick-skinned? This young master will definitely settle for the next best thing. I won't let you be this young master's wife. How about this? You can be this young master's maid for the time being. Every day, you will massage my back, wash my feet, warm my bed, and so on. As long as you do well, this young master will reward you well, Lin Feng said. Lin Zishi was infuriated. She said, I won't do it. I have a noble status. I don't want to be a maid. You are just someone from a small clan in the wasteland world. What noble status do you have? You're not the daughter of the ruler of the wasteland. If you were, I could serve you tea and give you a full-body massage or something. But don't forget your identity. Come over here and give me a full-body massage. If you don't listen to me, I'll give you a full-body examination later, Lin Feng said as he lay on the bed and hooked his finger at Lin Zishi. Bastard! Bastard! You only know how to bully me! Lin Zishi gnashed her teeth in hatred. She had always been the one bullying others. When had she ever been bullied by others? But now, she was being bullied to this extent by Lin Feng. This made Lin Zishi quite depressed. But now, Lin Zishi's spiritual power was sealed. He couldn't resist Lin Feng anymore. Lin Zishi walked over and started massaging Lin Feng's body. Comfortable, so comfortable. Use more strength. Did you not eat? Left. Yes, yes, yes. That's the spot. Put more strength into it. Lin Feng moaned in pleasure. The feeling of being served was not ordinary. It was no wonder so many people liked to have beautiful maids. Now, he finally experienced this feeling. In the afternoon, Lin Zishi pulled Lin Feng out to shop. She was very curious about many things. She looked around and looked around. Sometimes, when she saw something she liked, she would pick it up and run away without paying. Lin Feng could only clean up the mess for her. Lin Feng said speechlessly, You have to pay for the things you buy. Lin Zishi said pitifully, I don't have money. For someone from a small clan like me, it is very difficult to get immortal stones for cultivation. Usually, I don't have any left. Moreover, I am now your maid. No matter what, I should be paid, right? Take the money for these things as my payment in advance. Lin Feng took out 10,000 immortal stones and said, I have never mistreated the people around me. Even if you are a maid, I will not mistreat you. Take these 10,000 immortal stones and spend them first. Wow, 10,000 immortal stones. So many! Lin Zishi quickly kept the 10,000 immortal stones and jumped up and down. She was very happy. She looked at Lin Feng and said with a smile, Tell me, do you like me? Otherwise, why would you give me so many immortal stones? If you like me, then say it. I can give you a chance to chase me. Like your head. Usually, when I beg for food, I will give you 100,000 immortal stones, Lin Feng said. Lin Zishi naturally heard Lin Feng's teasing words. He actually dared to say that she was worse than a beggar. Lin Zishi was so angry that she reached out her hand and tried to strangle Lin Feng's neck. Then she shouted, I will strangle you to death! Lin Feng turned around and ran forward. Don't run! Lin Zishi screamed and chased after Lin Feng. Help! The tigress wants to kill me! Lin Feng shouted as he ran. Damn, brother, you actually called such a beautiful girl a tigress? This brother really doesn't know how lucky he is. If I had such a beautiful wife, I would definitely treat her like the apple of my eye. This brother actually made such a beautiful wife angry. Comparisons are odious. Oh heavens, oh earth, please give me such a beautiful girl. Many cultivators who were watching the show immediately started to talk. Lin Feng and Lin Zishi arrived at the black market, laughing and joking. Lin Zishi's character was lively. Being with her, Lin Feng was also infected by her lively character. This was because Lin Feng had a relatively calm character. If he was with other women, he probably wouldn't be so crazy. The black market is even more lively than outside, Lin Zishi said after looking around. Don't you have such a lively place? Lin Feng asked curiously. No. I've never seen it. The people there are all desperately cultivating for survival. However, there might be some in some big ancient cities, but I've never had the chance to go there to take a look, Lin Zishi said. Then she added, however, even if there are such trading markets in those ancient cities, they are probably far less lively than the ones in the undying realm. Lin Feng naturally agreed with this point. After all, it was too difficult to survive in the wasteland. When there was nothing to do, those cultivators would probably go to cultivate. Who would have the time to go to the trading market? Chapter 49-47. I want that thing! Lin Zishi pointed to a bracelet. It was a crystal bracelet with 7 different colored crystals strung together. 7 different colors of energy flowed out of the 7 crystals. The 7 different colored energies intertwined together and looked very beautiful. This bracelet was not a powerful magic treasure. It was just an accessory. Lin Feng said. It's not like you don't have money. Buy it yourself, Lin Zishi said. I want you to give it to me. Lin Feng had no choice but to buy the bracelet for Lin Zishi. Lin Zishi put the bracelet on her hand and then shook it gently. The bracelet immediately made a crisp, jingling sound. The 7-colored light flickered. Under the refraction of the sun, it was simply magnificent and very beautiful. Lin Zishi obviously liked this bracelet very much. Her beautiful little face revealed an incomparably happy expression. Although this little girl was sometimes very black-bellied, in reality, her heart was extremely pure and flawless. Sometimes, from some small things, one could see what kind of person's inner world was. Do you have anything you want to buy? Lin Zishi looked at Lin Feng and asked. Not at the moment, Lin Feng said. Let's go inside and take a look. Maybe there's something you want to buy. I'll buy it for you then, Lin Zishi said. Lin Feng nodded and continued to walk inside with Lin Zishi. That's... Suddenly, Lin Zishi revealed a surprised expression. She pulled Lin Feng and walked towards a stall. Lin Feng and Lin Zishi came in front of the stall. It was a stall set up by a middle-aged cultivator. There were all kinds of things on the stall. There were many things that were in tatters. They seemed to have been dug out from an ancient tomb. After seeing those things, Lin Feng could not help but mutter. Could it be that he had met the same trade as the immeasurable Taoist? In fact, in a place like the Undying Realm, there were many tomb robbers. Because there were many experts and powerful forces in the Undying Realm. After an expert died, there would definitely be many good things in the tomb. However, if the other party's cultivators find out that you're robbing a tomb, you'll definitely be hunted down. Therefore, the tomb robbers of the Undying Realm were relatively low-key. How much is this? Lin Zishi pointed at an item. It was a short sword made of an unknown material. There were many ancient runes on it, but the surface of the short sword was rusty. Due to that, the power of the short sword had been greatly affected. If the rust could be removed, the short sword's power would rise greatly. Lin Feng knew of some forces or cultivators who knew how to remove the rust. Now that Lin Zishi had asked him about the short sword, he wondered if Lin Zishi knew how to remove the rust. This is a peerless sword, but I'm fated with you, so I'll sell it to you for 100,000 immortal stones, the stall owner said with a smile, looking extremely cunning. These businessmen were always full of nonsense and never spoke the truth. Lin Zishi said, Don't try to get close to me. Who's fated with you? This short sword is already rusted to this extent, and you still have the nerve to ask for 100,000 immortal stones. How can you be so thick-skinned? After hearing Lin Zishi's taunting words, the stall owner couldn't help but roll his eyes. He waved his hand and said, Go away. If you're not buying, don't disturb my business here, Lin Zishi said. Who's not buying? Did I say I'm not buying? Give me a cheaper price for this short sword, the stall owner said. 80,000. I can't go any lower. Too expensive, too expensive. Give me a cheaper price, Lin Zishi said. 70,000. That's the lowest price. Any lower and I'll lose money, the stall owner said. Leng Zishi continued. Too expensive, too expensive. Give me a cheaper price. How much do you want? The stall owner said helplessly. Leng Zishi stretched out her jade-like hand and spread her 5 fingers, making a gesture of 5. 50,000? No, 50,000 is really going to make me vomit blood. The stall owner quickly shook his head. Leng Zishi said, You misunderstood. I said 500. Pfft. After hearing Leng Zishi's price, Lin Feng directly spat out his saliva. Leng Zishi actually bargained for 500 for something that was priced at 100,000. That was too outrageous. Even Lin Feng wasn't so thick-skinned as to barter at such a price. After hearing the price, the stall owner couldn't help but be stunned. After being stunned for a short while, the stall owner's face darkened. He probably felt that Leng Zishi was playing with him. Go as far as you can think, the stall owner said speechlessly. Leng Zishi looked at the short sword and said, I know the words on it. This short sword seems to be made by an expert from some force called Venerable. It seems to be a burial item. You're actually peddling someone else's burial item. Don't tell me you've dug up someone else's ancestral grave? I'm going to ask others if they know about this force. After hearing Leng Zishi's words, the stall owner was shocked. He quickly said, Young lady, don't ask. Don't ask. I'm afraid of you. I don't want 500 immortal stones. I'll give it to you for free. Hurry up and leave. Hee, you're the one who gave it to me. It's not that I'm not paying, Leng Zishi said with a smile. Then she squatted down and grabbed a broken clay figurine and stone statue in her hand. She said, I want this clay figurine and stone statue too. The stall owner saw that the stone statue wasn't anything valuable, so he didn't pay much attention to it. He waved his hand and said, Take it, take it. Leng Zishi picked up the clay figurine and stone statue, then dragged Lin Feng away. Wasn't my bargaining ability amazing just now? Leng Zishi asked Lin Feng with a smile. Amazing! Really amazing! Not only did you not spend a single immortal stone on something worth 100,000, you even took a clay figurine and stone statue with you when you left. I'm so impressed, Lin Feng said. Leng Zishi said, I only have 10,000 immortal stones. I can't afford such an expensive thing, so I can only scare the boss. Who would have thought that this guy would be scared to such an extent by me? I actually don't recognize the words on it at all, hee. Lin Feng said, These grave robbers have many tricks up their sleeves. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to provoke them. You'd better pray that he doesn't come looking for trouble with you. He wouldn't dare. Leng Zishi snorted. Then, she stuffed the clay figurine and stone statue into Lin Feng's hands. Then, she lowered her voice and said, What I really want to buy isn't that broken dagger, but this clay figurine and stone statue. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't help but ask, What's so special about this clay figurine and stone statue? Chapter 49-48. Seeing Leng Zishi's serious expression, Lin Feng showed an extremely surprised expression. Was the clay figurine and stone statue extraordinary? What was its origin? Lin Feng held the clay figurine and stone statue in his hand and observed it. He found that there was nothing special about the clay figurine and stone statue. He didn't even see any runes. However, Leng Zishi didn't seem to be lying. Lin Feng asked, What's so special about this clay figurine and stone statue? I really can't see what's so special about this clay figurine and stone statue. You tried to break it, Leng Zishi said. Lin Feng didn't know what Leng Zishi was up to, but Lin Feng still did as Leng Zishi said. He tried to break the clay figurine and stone statue. Lin Feng suddenly exerted force. However, something happened that surprised him. The clay figurine and stone statue couldn't be broken at all. Lin Feng looked at the clay figurine and stone statue in surprise. If the clay figurine and stone statue were ordinary objects, with Lin Feng's strength, it would be easy for him to break the clay figurine and stone statue. However, the clay figurine and stone statue didn't break. This meant that the clay figurine and stone statue was absolutely extraordinary. It was just that Lin Feng couldn't see what was so special about the clay figurine and stone statue. Leng Zishi said, "This clay figurine and stone statue is called the cursed clay figurine. It's a very strange thing. Once activated, it can release an extremely powerful curse power to fight against the enemy. You should know that cultivators are most afraid of the curse power. Therefore, once the clay figurine and stone statue is activated, it can often have a miraculous effect." After hearing Leng Zishi's words, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. The clay figurine and stone statue could release a powerful curse power? Would he be able to use the power of the curse? If it could be used by him, he could use this curse power to activate the Great Curse Art. Lin Feng's Great Curse Art was naturally extremely terrifying and powerful. However, the Great Curse Art was a little special among the 3,000 Great Das. The most unique thing was that it was very difficult for him to activate the Great Curse technique. However, with the support of a large amount of curse power, the chances of activating the Great Curse technique would be much higher. With that thought in mind, Lin Feng asked, "If the clay figurines and stone statues release a large amount of curse energy, will I be able to make use of the curse energy?" "Of course," Leng Zishi said. "Once the clay figurine and stone statue is activated, it will produce some divine sense waves. At this time, the clay figurine and stone statue can choose from two states. The first state is the fighting state of the clay figurine and stone statue. In this state, the clay figurine and stone statue is equivalent to an avatar and can cooperate with the master to fight the enemy. The second state is the fusion state. If this state is activated, the clay figurine and stone statue can enter the master's dantian, and its power will be connected with the master. At that time, the curse power produced by the clay figurine and stone statue can also be used by the master." Hearing this, Lin Feng was overjoyed. If that was the case, the Great Curse technique would definitely become an extremely terrifying killing move. Moreover, it was a relatively reliable killing move. The Great Curse technique from before was, of course, also a powerful killing move. However, although it was powerful, it was not very reliable. This was because it might not be able to activate the Great Curse technique even if it was activated many times. If one wanted to use the Great Curse technique against the enemy, it would depend on luck. However, with the support of a large amount of curse energy, the probability of activating the Great Curse technique should be greatly increased. This could become a common method. Thinking of this, Lin Feng was naturally overjoyed. Lin Feng asked, "How do I refine this thing? Do I refine it with my magic power? Or do I refine it with my blood?" "Neither works," Leng Zishi said. "You need to inscribe a curse restriction. After that, you can communicate with it using your divine sense." "Do you know how to inscribe a curse restriction?" Lin Feng asked. "Of course. I have many tricks up my sleeves," Leng Zishi said proudly. After hearing Leng Zishi's affirmative answer, Lin Feng was very excited. He could not wait to hug Leng Zishi in his arms and give her 3 kisses. Of course, if he dared to do so, Lin Feng would definitely suffer a tragedy. "Then let's go back quickly. Teach me how to inscribe a curse restriction," Lin Feng said. Leng Zishi said with a smile. "Don't be in such a hurry. I haven't finished talking about the wonders of the clay figurines and stone statues." Lin Feng looked at Leng Zishi, puzzled. According to Leng Zishi, could it be that the clay figurines and stone statues had other effects? If that was the case, it would be a pleasant surprise. Leng Zishi said, "Actually, the most powerful thing about the clay figurines and stone statues is not the powerful curse energy that they can release after being revived, but the secret of the clay figurines and stone statues themselves." "What secret does the clay figurines and stone statues have?" Lin Feng asked, puzzled. "It is said that the method of condensing the clay figurines and stone statues is quite special. When condensing the clay figurines and stone statues, some special runes need to be integrated into the clay figurines and stone statues. These special runes are scattered all over the clay figurines and stone statues, just like the acupuncture points in the human body. As you know, the human body has many acupuncture points, and these acupuncture points are extremely important to a cultivator. The special runes that are integrated into the clay figurines and stone statues are also very important to them. These special runes are formed by the method of condensing the clay figurines and stone statues. In other words, if you can decipher the special runes inside the clay figurines and stone statues, you will be able to master the method of creating the clay figurines and stone statues. These clay figurines and stone statues are similar to forbidden weapons. Normally, they will be destroyed after 10 uses. However, if you master the method of creating the clay figurines and stone statues, you don't have to worry about how many times the clay figurines and stone statues can be used. After using them up, you can just create a new one, Lin Zishi said. After hearing Lin Zishi's words, even with Lin Feng's state of mind, he couldn't help but be ecstatic. As the saying goes, it is better to teach a man to fish than to give him a fish. Lin Feng had obtained the clay figurines and stone statues, but there was a limit to how many times they could be used. After using them up, the clay figurines and stone statues would be destroyed and could no longer be used. However, what if Lin Feng learned the method of creating the clay figurines and stone statues? Just thinking about this made Lin Feng extremely excited. Come, let's go back and study it. Lin Feng held Lin Zishi's hand and said. He and Lin Zishi quickly headed back to their residence. On the way, they met someone. This person was none other than Shui Yuexin. Chapter 49-49. Lin Feng let go of Lin Zishi's hand and looked at Shui Yuexin. When I went to the all-knowing pavilion, I heard that Fairy Shui hadn't returned yet. Did you just return? Shui Yuexin's heart was filled with bitterness. She had thought that she would be able to remain calm when facing Lin Feng again, but when she saw Lin Feng holding another woman's hand, she felt very uncomfortable. She tried her best to act normal. Yes, I just returned. Who is this fairy? Shui Yuexin responded and asked. A friend, Lin Feng said. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Shui Yuexin felt even more uncomfortable. Even if Lin Feng had said that Lin Zishi was a servant he had bought with money, Shui Yuexin would have felt much better. However, reality was very cruel. Shui Yuexin suddenly wanted to escape. She said, Then I'll return first. When I have news of Yun Tianyu, I'll send someone to inform the young master. Lin Feng nodded. All right. Thank you, fairy. Shui Yuexin bowed to Lin Feng and left as if she was escaping. Lin Feng looked at Lin Zishi and said, Let's go quickly. I can't wait to study the clay figurines and stone statues. Lin Zishi followed beside Lin Feng and said with a smile, Who was that vixen just now? Could it be that she's your old lover? I noticed that there was something wrong with the way she looked at you. Lin Feng said, What old lover? Don't accuse me wrongly. She's just a friend of mine. Oh. Lin Zishi responded and did not talk about Shui Yuexin. The two of them quickly returned to their residence. Lin Feng took out the clay figurine and stone statue. Lin Zishi took the figurine and stone statue and pointed at a spot. Do you see that? There's a black spot here. Lin Feng nodded and asked, Does this black spot have any special meaning? Lin Zishi said, It's equivalent to a formation core. After that, Lin Zishi showed Lin Feng a few more places. Those places all had black dots. It seemed like those places were the cores of the deployment spell, that's why there were black dots. Although a restriction is not as complicated as a great formation, the essence of a restriction is the same as that of a great formation. Therefore, the formation eye is also very important to a restriction. Remember the position of these formation eyes. Later, I will show you how to draw a curse restriction, Lin Zishi said. All right. Lin Feng replied and took out a talisman paper and a brush. Lin Zishi first drew the locations of the 7 formation cores on the talisman's zzzz. The position of the eye of the formation completely overlapped with the position of the stone statue. Then, to draw the curse restrictions. Drawing the curse restriction wasn't particularly troublesome, but it wasn't too easy either. Of course, it wasn't as was at all. It took roughly half started satsatsatsas. Lin Feng practiced a few times and mastered the cursed restrictions. You've learned how to draw cursed restrictions so quickly? Ling Zishi looked at all this in disbelief. Although cursed restrictions weren't particularly troublesome restrictions, it was extremely unrealistic to master cursed restrictions in such a short time. Ling Zishi originally thought that Lin Feng would need a few days to study cursed restrictions. However, Lin Feng only practiced a few times to master cursed restrictions. Even though Ling Zishi came from the wasteland, she still found it unbelievable. In the wasteland, she had seen some cultivators with top-notch talent in spirit arrays. Those cultivators with top-notch talent in spirit arrays seemed to be far behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng said with a smile, "What's the fuss about? I'm the 38th Celestial Master." "What? You're a Celestial Master?" Hearing Lin Feng say that he was the 38th Celestial Master, Ling Zishi suddenly exclaimed. Her face was filled with shock. Obviously, Ling Zishi had heard of the legends of the Celestial Master lineage. Lin Feng said, "What's the fuss about?" Ling Zishi sighed and said, "Of all the things to be a Celestial Master, your lineage is cursed. I remember that there was a Celestial Master in the wasteland. That Celestial Master was a powerful figure, but he was robbed in his later years. It was said that he was taken away by a group of Yin soldiers." Lin Feng said, "The curse of the Celestial Master lineage is indeed terrifying, but I believe that man can conquer nature. As long as I work hard, I'll definitely be able to remove the curse of the Celestial Master lineage." Ling Zishi said, "I hope so." Lin Feng said, "Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's talk about something happy. Now that I've mastered the curse, can I try carving the curse on the clay figurines and stone statues?" Ling Zishi said, "There's only one clay figurine and stone statue. If you make a mistake, the statue will be destroyed. I think it's better to practice a few more times just to be safe." Lin Feng nodded. What Ling Zishi said made sense. There was indeed only one clay figurine and stone statue. He still needed to familiarize himself with the method of carving the curse. After all, it was Lin Feng's first time successfully carving the curse. Lin Feng practiced 10 more times. He felt that he was becoming more familiar with the curse. Lin Feng decided to use his real saber and sword. He began carving the curse on the clay figurine and stone statue. Naturally, he couldn't use a talisman brush. He had to use a talisman knife. He poured his magic power into the talisman knife. The talisman knife could form a special energy that turned the carving into a curse. Moreover, it could be preserved for many years. Lin Feng was very careful when carving the curse. He tried his best to do every step perfectly. This was because he couldn't afford to make any mistakes when carving the curse. If he made a mistake, the clay figurine and stone statue would be destroyed. When that happened, Lin Feng would be crying. Lin Feng took even less time to carve the curse talisman than Ling Zishi. Normally, he would only need 15 minutes to successfully carve the curse. However, carving the curse on a talisman paper and carving the curse on a clay figurine and stone statue were two completely different situations. It took Lin Feng 3 hours to carve the cursing spell. But luckily, Lin Feng had managed to carve the curse on it. Lin Feng's strength penetrated into the cursed restriction spell. In an instant, the curse was activated by Lin Feng. As for Lin Feng, he found that he had a special connection with the clay figurine and stone statue. This connection was like the connection of water, milk, sex, and fusion. The clay figurine and stone statue seemed to have become a part of Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng could even sense the consciousness sleeping in the clay figurine and stone statue. Chapter 49-50. What a magical clay figurine and stone statue! Lin Feng was shocked when he sensed the consciousness sleeping in the clay figurine and stone statue. The clay figurine and stone statue were extraordinary. The consciousness was perfect. If it continued to evolve, it might form a complete soul body. This was highly possible. However, the consciousness was restricted by the laws of heaven and earth and could not continue to grow. Therefore, it could not become a true soul body. After all, clay figurines and stone statues were special. It was too difficult to form a complete soul body. Did you sense the clay figurine and stone statue? Lin Zixi asked. Lin Feng replied. It has. That's great. I'll try to understand the cultivation method in the clay figurine and stone statue. I'll tell you when I succeed. Okay, I won't disturb you, Lin Zixi said and left Lin Feng's room. Lin Feng sat cross-legged. He carefully sensed the special runes in the clay figurine and stone statue. Soon, Lin Feng sensed the runes in the clay figurine and stone statue. Those runes were very mysterious. Each rune contained a powerful energy. Lin Feng's divine thought invaded the runes. Suddenly, the information wrapped in the runes was found by Lin Feng. Those runes contained pure cultivation techniques. Apart from that, there was nothing else. However, it was not easy for Lin Feng to link all the cultivation methods together. There were a total of 64 different runes. Each rune contained a different cultivation method. Lin Feng did not know the specific order. He had to rely on himself to link all the cultivation methods together. There could not be any mistakes. There could not be any problems with the cultivation methods. Once there was a problem with the cultivation method, it could cause the magical power in the cultivator's body to be chaotic. If the cultivator could not suppress the chaotic magical power in the body, it could lead to chi deviation. Lin Feng tried to link all the different cultivation methods together, but he failed. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. There must be a special way to do all this, Lin Feng could not help but say to himself. He felt that there must be such a way, but he did not know what it was. Lin Feng continued to look at the mysterious runes in the clay figurine and stone statue. He tried to channel his magical power into the clay figurine and stone statue. At this time, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Lin Feng found that when he channeled his magical power into the clay figurine and stone statue, the magical power flowed from the top to the bottom. The runes lit up one by one with magical power. Those runes emitted waves of dazzling light. What will happen if I arrange these cultivation methods according to the order in which the runes are activated? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He decided to follow this train of thought and see if he could do it. Lin Feng naturally remembered what kind of cultivation method was contained in each rune, so he arranged all the cultivation methods according to the order in which the runes were activated. Then, he formed a complete cultivation method. However, this cultivation method was called the clay figurine technique. Whether the clay figurine technique was correct or not had not been verified. Only after verifying it could he determine whether this cultivation method was correct or not. Lin Feng planned to try to circulate the cultivation method according to the cultivation method. Lin Feng cultivated 3,000 grand daos, so his understanding of the various grand daos was naturally not something an ordinary person could compare to. Therefore, Lin Feng believed that if there was a problem with the cultivation method, he would be able to detect it. Of course, if there was a problem with the cultivation method and it caused a backlash, Lin Feng also believed that with his methods, he would be able to resolve this problem. Lin Feng was very confident about this. Lin Feng began to circulate the cultivation method according to the cultivation method. After about an hour, Lin Feng successfully completed one cycle. His face lit up. That was because Lin Feng found that there was no problem with this cultivation method. The cultivation method that he arranged according to the order in which the runes were activated was actually correct. This made Lin Feng happy. These cultivation methods were very mysterious. A single cultivation method could contain a lot of content. Lin Feng comprehended a method of refining clay figurines and stone statues from it. Lin Feng felt that there might be more than one way to refine clay figurines and stone statues, but what kind of method could he obtain? He would have to rely on his own abilities. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, he told Lin Zixi the cultivation method he had obtained. At the same time, Lin Feng removed the seal that was restraining Lin Zixi's powers. "You're free now. You can leave whenever you want," Lin Feng said. "Why should I leave? I eat well and live well here. I don't want to leave, Lin Zishi said with a grin. Since you like to live here, you can continue to live here. Lin Feng shrugged. He did not drive Lin Zishi away. Lin Zishi's character was more lively, so Lin Feng felt that there was no need to drive her away. Perhaps after a while, Lin Zishi would leave on her own. Lin Feng did not believe that this two-faced girl would stay in one place for so long. The main thing was that Lin Zishi's character was not like that. If she stayed in one place for so long, wouldn't she suffocate to death? Lin Feng returned to his room and went into seclusion. He needed to continue studying the clay figurine technique. Lin Feng went into seclusion for about 10 days. On this day, Shui Yuexin came to visit Lin Feng. In fact, Shui Yuexin had thought about it for a long time. She did not want to come because she did not want to see Lin Feng being intimate with other women. However, there was a voice in her heart that made her make another decision. She came to Lin Feng's place because she wanted to see Lin Feng. Sometimes, Shui Yuexin thought that if she did not leave that night and had a peaceful conversation with Lin Feng, perhaps things would not have turned out this way. She felt that she and Lin Feng were like strangers. This feeling was unacceptable to her and made her feel very uncomfortable. Lin Feng heard the noise outside and walked out of his room. Lin Zishi also came out of seclusion. Lin Feng was surprised that this two-faced girl had not left. Why are you looking at me with such a strange gaze? Lin Zishi asked. Is my gaze strange? I don't find it strange, Lin Feng said. He did not continue to chat with Lin Zishi. Instead, he went to the door of the courtyard and opened it. He saw the charming Shui Yuexin standing outside waiting for Lin Feng. After seeing Lin Feng, she revealed a charming smile. Chapter 49-51. Shui Xianzi, please come in. Lin Feng invited Shui Yuexin in. Lin Zishi, on the other hand, was looking at Shui Yuexin with a smile. No one knew what this girl was thinking. Shui Yuexin naturally saw Lin Zishi, but she didn't pay any attention to her. Now that she was facing Lin Zishi again, Shui Yuexin was much calmer. Shui Yuexin didn't stand on ceremony and followed Lin Feng into the courtyard. In the living room, the guest of honor took their seats. Shui Yuexin said, Young Master, Yun Tianyu has sent news. He will arrive at the Western Paradise City in about 5 days. Oh? You can reach there in 5 days? Yi Xian's eyes lit up. 5 days would pass very quickly. When Yun Tianyu arrived, he would be able to ask him about the ancient survivors. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that Yun Tianyu wouldn't tell him. Yun Tianyu didn't know whether Lin Feng was a friend or foe. Rashly asking would only arouse Yun Tianyu's suspicions. After all, many people wanted to find out about the ancient survivors from Yun Tianyu, and most of them were hostile towards them. Therefore, before asking about the ancient survivors, he needed to gain Yun Tianyu's trust. That way, there wouldn't be any problems asking about the ancient survivors. Thank you for bringing news about Yun Tianyu, Fairy. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said. Shui Yuexin sighed inwardly. If it was her relationship with Lin Feng in the past, how could Lin Feng thank her? Saying thank you would make him sound like an outsider. Shui Yuexin felt helpless. She wanted to mend her relationship with Lin Feng, but it was easier said than done to restore it to its original state. Not to mention, Lin Feng had a beauty like Lin Zishi by his side. When Yun Tianyu arrives, I will send someone to inform young master. I still have some matters to deal with in the all-knowing pavilion, so I will take my leave, Shui Yuexin said. All right, Fairy, take care. Lin Feng stood up and sent Shui Yuexin out. After returning, Lin Zishi giggled and said, Looks like that woman has some thoughts about you. Could she be your old lover? Lin Feng pulled Lin Zishi into his arms and said, What nonsense are you talking about? You're obviously my old lover. Scoundrel! Lin Zishi snorted and struggled out of Lin Feng's arms. Then she said, Don't think that I can't see it. Even if that woman is not your old lover, she definitely has an affair with you. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. Lin Zishi seemed to be more interested in this gossip. He said, If you have time to think about this, why don't you spend it on cultivation? Why haven't you left yet? I thought you had left long ago. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Leng Zishi suddenly showed a pitiful expression and said, What do you mean by this? Are you trying to drive me away? Don't drive me away. If you drive me away, I won't have anywhere to go. My home is in the wasteland, and I don't know how to go back. I don't know anyone except you, but you still want to drive me away. At this point, tears were already flowing down her cheeks. This black-bellied girl was definitely good at acting, said Lin Feng. I'm not driving you away. I'm thinking about a plan to train you into a maid. I want to train you to be a very obedient maid. Then I'll buy you a few maid outfits. In the future, when you're in front of me, you can wear maid outfits. Leng Zishi immediately gritted her teeth. She said angrily, I don't want to be a maid. I want to be a queen, and you can be my manservant. Seeing Leng Zishi gnashing her teeth, Lin Feng couldn't help but find it funny. For some reason, Lin Feng liked to anger Leng Zishi. He felt that it was quite fun. Lin Feng said, Let's not talk about maid and manservant first. How about we talk about cultivation? How's your study of the clay figurine technique? Leng Zishi said awkwardly. I studied it for 2 hours, and then I accidentally fell asleep. Hearing that, the corner of Lin Feng's mouth twitched violently. Could it be that you've been sleeping until now? Lin Feng said speechlessly. Leng Zishi nodded. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sleeping until now? Was she the god of sleep? To put it bluntly, was she a pig? Leng Zishi was a smart and beautiful girl. She probably guessed what Lin Feng was thinking. She said, When I sleep, it's equivalent to cultivating. My strength will continue to rise while I sleep. After hearing Leng Zishi's words, Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but tremble slightly. In fact, there were some similar races in the world. Their strength would increase greatly while they slept. For example, some of the top races, such as Bibi's race, were like this. Bibi was fond of sleeping, but it could increase its cultivation while sleeping. Although he didn't know what race Leng Zishi was from, since it was a race from the wasteland world, it should be an extremely powerful race. Lin Feng wouldn't underestimate Leng Zishi's clan. Leng Zishi said that she came from a small clan. Among the clans that could establish themselves in the wasteland world, were there any simple clans? Even if it was a small family in the wasteland, if placed in the undying world, it was very likely that it would be a colossal force. This was naturally something that was highly possible. Do you want to sleep a little more? Lin Feng looked at Leng Zishi and said. Speaking of sleeping, Leng Zishi immediately felt sleepy. Sure. When that Yun Tianyu comes, don't forget to wake me up. Leng Zishi said. Lin Feng said. I also want to sleep. Why don't I hug you to sleep? Don't worry, I won't touch you. Go to hell. Leng Zishi threw a fist at Lin Feng, but Lin Feng easily dodged it. Leng Zishi didn't bother with Lin Feng and directly returned to her room. 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. Early in the morning, there was a violent fluctuation between heaven and earth. Lin Feng was alarmed. Even Leng Zishi, who was in deep sleep, was alarmed. They all came to the courtyard. The fluctuation is coming from outside the city. There must be extremely powerful cultivators fighting, Lin Feng said. Leng Zishi immediately became excited. She said, That's really fun. Let's go and take a look. Leng Zishi, this two-faced girl, had a personality that wanted to see the world in chaos. Therefore, when she saw people fighting, she couldn't wait to watch the show. She grabbed Lin Feng and quickly flew out of the city. Chapter 49-52. When Lin Feng and Leng Zishi arrived at the outskirts of the city, a large number of cultivators had already gathered outside the city. These cultivators were naturally here to watch the show. In a distant mountain forest, an extremely intense battle had erupted. 3 cultivators were besieging a cultivator in scholarly robes. The cultivator in scholarly robes looked to be in his 30s. He was quite handsome, but his temperament was somewhat dispirited. Lin Feng recognized one of the three people besieging him. It was none other than the 8 Extreme Palace's old ancestor. There were also 2 others that Lin Feng did not recognize. The 8 Extreme Palace's old ancestor was a true immortal expert. Clearly, the other 2 companions should also be true immortals. Could that person be Yun Tianyu? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. This was because Yun Tianyu had sent a message saying that he would arrive at the Little Western Paradise City today. Yun Tianyu was also wanted by the 8 Extreme Palace and other factions. It was very normal for the 8 Extreme Palace's experts to move out to kill Yun Tianyu. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that the cultivator in scholarly robes was Yun Tianyu. Confucian robes, and other similar types of clothing were basically worn by Confucian cultivators. If the besieged cultivator was really Yun Tianyu, then Yun Tianyu was very likely a Confucian cultivator. That's right, he's Yun Tianyu! A voice came, confirming Lin Feng's guess. The person who came was none other than Shuiyu Exin, said Lin Feng, nodding at Shuiyu Xin. Then, he looked at the 4 cultivators who were fighting. The 8 Extreme Palace's old ancestor and the other 2 true immortals' attacks were very powerful. Yun Tianyu was restrained. However, Yun Tianyu did not show any signs of defeat. This meant that although Yun Tianyu was restricted, he wasn't using his full strength. The 8 Extreme Palace's 3 ancestors' strength is only SOSO. Today, I'll let you have a taste of my Confucian sect's overwhelming righteous technique. Suddenly, Yun Tianyu roared. Next, a large amount of righteous energy surged out of Yun Tianyu's back and started to churn violently. Yun Tianyu waved his sleeve and a large amount of righteous energy shot towards the 8-level palace's 3 ancestors. Lin Feng could not help but reveal an extremely shocked expression when he felt the violent fluctuations emanating from the nature energy. The righteous energy of the Confucian sect was one of the most unyielding and yang energies in the world. This kind of power was extremely violent and terrifying. Once this kind of power was unleashed, its might was simply appalling. The 3 ancestors' expressions suddenly changed after they felt the righteous energy attack. The reaction of the 3 ancestors of the Baji Palace was extremely fast. The 3 of them hurriedly operated their divine abilities and blasted towards the overwhelming vital energy that Yun Tianyu had unleashed. Bang! 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 3 consecutive violent collisions were heard. Everyone watched as the 3 ancestors of the 8-level palace collided with Yun Tianyu's attack. The divine ability of the 8 Extreme Palace's 3 ancestors was instantly drowned out by Yun Tianyu's overwhelming vital energy. Then, the powerful aura of righteousness sent the 8-level palace's 3 ancestors flying. So strong! Many people cried out in alarm. As expected of the Confucian sect's righteous energy, it's truly heaven-defying. Then, someone sighed with emotion. The 3 ancestors of the 8-level palace glanced at each other with a gloomy expression. They knew that Yun Tianyu was not easy to deal with. Currently, the 3 of them would not be able to kill Yun Tianyu. Therefore, the 3 ancestors of the 8-level palace did not linger and quickly left. I'm afraid those 3 old geezers won't let this matter go. They will probably go find some helpers, Lin Zishi said. Lin Feng nodded. They schemed to capture Yun Tianyu and interrogate him to find the ancient survivors, Lin Zishi said. However, this Yun Tianyu is very powerful. He's not someone that ordinary people can deal with. At this time, Yun Tianyu was rapidly flying towards the minor Western Paradise City. This person was indeed skilled and daring. He was wanted by the 8-level palace and other forces, yet he still dared to brazenly come here. He was truly audacious. Ha ha ha, I brought a lot of good things. I want to exchange them for immortal stones. A lot of immortal stones. Tomorrow, we will conduct the transaction in the Sacred Treasure Pavilion. Everyone is welcome to the Sacred Treasure Pavilion. Yun Tianyu's voice was loud and clear. Then, Yun Tianyu entered the minor Western Paradise City. Why did he exchange so many immortal stones? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Under normal circumstances, these experts liked to exchange their treasures for other treasures and didn't like to exchange them for immortal stones. Because it wasn't especially difficult for experts at their level to obtain the immortal stones required for cultivation, so there was no need for them to exchange all their treasures for immortal stones. As long as he had enough immortal stones, it would be enough. Exchanging so many immortal stones was useless. Leng Zishi said, "Didn't you tell me that he has a very deep relationship with the ancient survivors? We don't know where the ancient survivors are hiding, and they can't come out as they wish. Tell me, is he exchanging so many immortal stones for the sake of the ancient survivors? After all, the ancient survivors also need a lot of immortal stones for their cultivation." When Lin Feng heard that, his eyes twinkled. Leng Zishi's explanation was very reliable. Perhaps he really did exchange the immortal stones for the ancient survivors, Lin Feng said. If that's the case, then I'm sure he knows the whereabouts of the ancient survivors. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel excited. Previously, he was worried that Yun Tianyu didn't know the whereabouts of the ancient survivors. Now, he was even more certain that Yun Tianyu knew the whereabouts of the ancient survivors. Lin Feng was eager to see Feng Yaoguang. Now, it seemed that he would be able to see Feng Yaoguang soon. Let's go back first. Tomorrow, we'll pay Yun Tianyu a visit, Lin Feng said. Leng Zishi nodded. Lin Feng said goodbye to Shui Yuexin and then quickly left with Leng Zishi. Seeing Lin Feng and Leng Zishi leave, Shui Yuexin couldn't help but sigh. She didn't stay and quickly left the place. On the second day, Lin Feng and Leng Zishi went to the Saint Treasure Pavilion together. After arriving, Lin Feng learned that the Saint Treasure Pavilion was going to hold a small auction. The items to be auctioned were all things brought by Yun Tianyu. It seemed that Yun Tianyu had brought a lot of good things this time. After hearing that Lin Feng had arrived, Lu Shaoqing personally came to welcome Lin Feng. After seeing Leng Zishi, Lu Shaoqing smiled and said, "What a beautiful little sister." "Young master, who is this little sister?" Lin Feng said. "This is a friend of mine. Her name is Leng Zishi." Lin Feng introduced Lu Shaoqing to Leng Zishi and said, "This is the person in charge of the Saint Treasure Pavilion, Lu Shaoqing." The two women looked at each other with smiles on their faces, but they were secretly judging each other with their swords and knives. Chapter 49-53. Lu Shaoqing was the type of woman who had a hot body but a pure appearance. Two completely different temperaments fused together in her body. It was like a deadly poison that attracted others to conquer her. Leng Zishi was the type of woman who had a tall figure and a cute appearance. Who asked her to have a baby face. She looked like she was 16 or 17 years old. There was a saying that a girl next door had just grown up. It was referring to a little beauty like Leng Zishi. The two great beauties naturally had their own merits. Lu Shaoqing admired Lin Feng. She was different from Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin was the more idealistic kind of person. On the other hand, Lu Shaoqing was used to all kinds of deceit and scheming in the cultivation world. She was also used to all kinds of dark things. Thus, she was a more rational person. In her opinion, an outstanding man like Lin Feng would definitely not lack women by his side. If she could become Lin Feng's woman, she would already be satisfied. How could she still hope to obtain all of Lin Feng? Thus, when she saw Leng Zishi beside Lin Feng, she did not find it strange. She was just a little surprised that Shui Yuexin was not by Lin Feng's side. Could it be that something unpleasant happened between Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin? Thinking of this, Lu Shaoqing was a little gloating. She knew Shui Yuexin quite well. After all, they had been in the little western paradise city for many years, and they often interacted with each other. Thus, she felt that even if Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin really got together, it would not last for long. Now, it seemed that her guess was right. Lu Shaoqing did not care whether Lin Feng was sentimental or not. The only thing she cared about was when she could get together with Lin Feng. "I'll bring you to the VIP lounge to rest for a while. The auction has not officially started yet. This time, Yun Tianyu has brought a total of 97 auction items. There are some good things among them. If you see anything that you like, you can bid for it, Lu Shaoqing said. Lin Feng nodded and said, All right, then we'll see if there's anything we like. When the auction ends, I'll have to trouble you to introduce me to Yun Tianyu. Yun Tianyu actually didn't like to interact with outsiders. Every time he came to Little Western Paradise City to sell things, he basically wouldn't interact with outsiders. After selling his things, he would take the immortal stones and leave. This was Yun Tianyu's rule. Lu Shaoqing was also aware of this, but she didn't tell Lin Feng. She was very happy to be able to help Lin Feng. Therefore, she didn't mind telling Yun Tianyu about this. After all, they had been working together for a long time. Perhaps Yun Tianyu would relent because of this. Lu Shaoqing smiled and said, Don't worry, young master. This servant will definitely give young master and Yun Tianyu a chance to meet alone. Thank you, fairy. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, Young master, you don't have to be so polite. Lu Shaoqing grabbed Lin Feng's hand and said with a charming smile. She even pinched Lin Feng's palm with her jade-like fingers. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Lu Shaoqing was really seducing him all the time. Lu Shaoqing's little actions naturally couldn't be hidden from Leng Zishi. Leng Zishi saw all of this, but she didn't say anything. Lu Shaoqing still had a lot of things to deal with, so after bringing Lin Feng and Leng Zishi to the VIP lounge, she bid farewell and left. As for Lin Feng and Leng Zishi, they were drinking tea in the VIP lounge. Leng Zishi kicked Lin Feng and said, You stinking brat, you're really flirting with women everywhere. Wherever you go, you'll find your soulmate. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, I didn't take the initiative to provoke them. They're the ones who want to throw themselves at me, okay? You also know that as a man, if you're too charming, it's indeed possible to attract bees and butterflies. You're too charming? You really have the nerve to flatter yourself, don't you feel ashamed? Leng Zishi curled her lips and said, Although she didn't admit that Lin Feng's charm was greater, she didn't think so in her heart. From Leng Zishi's perspective as a woman, Lin Feng was indeed more charming and more attractive to girls. First of all, in terms of appearance, Lin Feng was more handsome. Lin Feng's handsomeness was the masculine kind of handsomeness of a man, not the kind of handsomeness of a man. There were many extremely beautiful men in the world of cultivators. Those men were beautiful, not handsome. Those men even wore makeup and had a more feminine temperament. Many women liked such men, but even more women didn't like those men who were more feminine. Especially those goddess-like women, they liked men like Lin Feng who were full of masculinity. Secondly, Lin Feng's talent and strength were powerful. In the world of cultivators, the most attractive thing was not the appearance, but the strength, cultivation, and talent. After all, this was a world where the strong were respected. In the case of strength, cultivation, and talent, having a better appearance was naturally a bonus. It was easy to become a Prince Charming. Finally, Lin Feng's character was very good. Although she didn't spend much time with Lin Feng, Leng Zishi still found a lot of character merits in Lin Feng. Let's not talk about anything else. Just one point. Lin Feng was very kind. It was easy to judge this point. Leng Zishi and Lin Feng weren't friends in the beginning, but Leng Zishi deceived Lin Feng. However, when Leng Zishi was injured and dying, Lin Feng still helped her. Even though Lin Feng had punished Leng Zishi and made her his personal maid, it wasn't a big deal. Therefore, Leng Zishi felt that Lin Feng was very kind. In the world of cultivators, there were too many deceit and there were too many vicious people. The word kind didn't seem to be suitable for the world of cultivators. However, Lin Feng was very kind. Just this point alone was enough to make many goddess-like beauties fall in love with Lin Feng. Of course, Leng Zishi's thoughts were her own thoughts. She wouldn't say them out loud. She couldn't help but insult Lin Feng a few times, or at least make fun of him. She didn't want to talk to Lin Feng in a soft and gentle way. That had something to do with her personality. Lin Feng didn't say much about Leng Zishi's rebuttal. It wasn't good for him to say much about this kind of thing. However, Leng Zishi obviously liked to gossip. She continued, "Do you want me to create an opportunity for you to take down that beauty in one fell swoop? What nonsense are you talking about?" Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. He said, "If you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll serve you even more when we go back." Chapter 49-54. When the auction started, Lu Shaoqing came to the VIP lounge and led Lin Feng and Ling Zishi to the auction. This was a small auction. There were fewer people in this kind of auction, but the standard was higher. Those who could participate in this auction were all famous figures. For example, there was a huge underground auction house in the Sacred Treasure Pavilion that could accommodate 100,000 people. However, this small auction house only had 1,300 people. Everyone gathered in the small auction house. Yun Tianyu did not attend this auction. He only needed to wait for the items to be auctioned and take away the immortal stones he deserved. There was no need for him to participate in this auction. Lin Feng and Ling Zishi found a place to sit down. The auctioneer was not Lu Shaoqing, but an old man and a beautiful woman. Seeing that almost everyone had arrived, the old man said loudly, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am the auctioneer of the Sacred Treasure Pavilion, Situ Hai. This is my partner, Shangguan Jianing. Today's auction will be hosted by the two of us. Now let's bring out the first auction item." After Situ Hai finished speaking, a beautiful maidservant brought out an item. It was a porcelain bottle. However, no one knew what was in the bottle. Shangguan Jianing said with a smile, "I think everyone must be very curious about this auction item. This is a good item. It is the 9-heaven cloud mist immortal spring. Some of you must have heard of this immortal spring. This immortal spring is found in the land of death in the heaven realm. The spring water is extremely precious. Even in the heaven realm, it is extremely precious. The spring water of the 9-heaven cloud mist immortal spring can be used for cultivation, and it can also be used to refine all kinds of top elixirs. It's actually this kind of item. Good item, it's really good. We must get it." After hearing Shangguan Jianing's introduction, the crowd burst into an uproar. Such a good item would naturally make people go crazy. Shangguan Jianing continued, "The starting price of the 9-heaven cloud mist immortal spring is 3 million. Each increase must not be less than 300,000. Ladies and gentlemen, you can start bidding now. 4 million. Soon, someone broke the silence and called out a price. 5 million. Then someone called out a new price. 6 million. 7 million. 7,500,000. 8. 3 million. 8. 6 million. 10 million. More and more cultivators joined the competition. This was a treasure that could be used to refine top-grade immortal pills that could be directly refined and absorbed to improve one's cultivation. Naturally, its value was unimaginable. Therefore, the final price was usually extremely high. Lin Feng estimated that the price of the 9 Heavens Cloud Immortal Spring would be around 80 to 90 million. If it was higher, it could even reach a sky-high price of 100 million. Lin Feng didn't want to waste any more time and directly quoted a price of 100 million. After hearing this price, everyone was shocked. This price scared off a lot of people and made some people frown. These cultivators were naturally interested in the 9 Heavens Cloud Immortal Spring, but the price of 100 million made them hesitate. "It's the young master who killed evil monk Yuan Hai and the others." Someone recognized Lin Feng and exclaimed. Back then, Lin Feng had killed evil monk Yuan Hai, evil monk Yuan Ji, and the others in the Western Paradise City and caused a huge uproar. Among the 4 great evil monks, evil monk Yuan Hai and the other 2 weren't a big deal. The key was that their eldest senior brother, evil monk Yuan Fa, was a true immortal expert. An expert like Yuan Fa would be an overlord wherever he went. However, he was killed by Lin Feng in a single move during the battle with Lin Feng. At that time, the cultivators present were shocked. "What? He's the young master who killed the 4 great evil monks?" Many people exclaimed. "That's right, it's him." Someone gave a definite answer. Many people exclaimed in shock. During this period of time, they had heard countless people talking about this matter. Now that they finally saw the young master in person, their hearts were in great turmoil. Those who were still considering competing with Lin Feng withdrew from the bidding. They didn't want to offend a young expert like Lin Feng. In the end, the 9 Heavens Cloud Immortal Fountain was bought by Lin Feng for a sky-high price of 100 million. Leng Zishi said, "Are you very famous? Why do I feel like those people are looking at you with reverence?" Lin Feng said, "I wouldn't dare say that I'm very strong, but I'm quite famous." Leng Zishi pursed her lips but didn't refute. Next, one item after another was taken out for auction. Those items were extremely precious, but most of them were sold for less than 30 million celestial stones. Only a few items were sold for more than 30 million celestial stones. Lin Feng had just bought the 9 heavenly clouds and mist celestial spring for 100 million celestial stones. Lin Feng didn't participate in the bidding for the following items. Very few items could attract Lin Feng's attention. The final item of the auction was a treasured seal, and it was bought by someone for 300 million immortal stones. The auction came to an end. The cultivators who bought the item they wanted were naturally very happy. The cultivators who didn't get the item they wanted were a little depressed. Lin Feng went to pay the 100 million immortal stones. Then, the other party gave the 9 Heavens Cloud Immortal Fountain to Lin Feng. Yun Tianyu estimated that this auction would be able to get 2 or 3 billion immortal stones. This was a lot of immortal stones. It would be enough to maintain a sect's normal operations for a long time. Lu Shaoqing found Lin Feng and Leng Zishi. Lu Shaoqing said, "Young master, I just talked to Yun Tianyu. Yun Tianyu wants to meet you, but Fairy Ling, Yun Tianyu won't be meeting you. Fairy Ling, you can rest in the VIP lounge for a while and wait for young master to come. I'll go out for a walk and see if there's anything good in the black market." Leng Zishi had a restless personality. If she was with Lin Feng, he could stay in one place for a while. If she had to wait in the VIP lounge alone, wouldn't she be bored to death? Lin Feng nodded and said, "Okay, be careful." "Hee, don't worry. I'll take care of myself," Leng Zishi said with a smile. Then, she left the Sacred Treasure Pavilion. Chapter 49-55. On the way, Lu Shaoqing looked at Lin Feng with a smile. Lin Feng touched his face and asked, "Why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face?" "No," Lu Shaoqing said. She then continued, "I'm just happy." "Why are you happy?" Lin Feng asked. Lu Shaoqing said, "Because I can help you. This makes me very happy." After hearing Lu Shaoqing's words, Lin Feng suddenly felt as if something in his heart had been touched. In truth, how could Lin Feng not know that meeting Yun Tianyu was definitely not an easy task? Lu Shaoqing must have said a lot of good things about him. Although Lin Feng did not say it out loud, he knew very well in his heart. Therefore, Lin Feng planned to find some good things in his time and space and give them to Lu Shaoqing as a reward. However, after hearing Lu Shaoqing's words, Lin Feng dispelled this idea. Lu Shaoqing's words touched the softest part of Lin Feng's heart. Lu Shaoqing had previously expressed her feelings to Lin Feng, but Lin Feng did not accept it. Even so, Lu Shaoqing was still helping Lin Feng. How could Lin Feng turn a blind eye to their friendship? "How about we go on a cruise together tonight?" Lin Feng asked. "Really?" After hearing Lin Feng's invitation, Lu Shaoqing's eyes instantly lit up. "Of course." Lin Feng nodded. Lu Shaoqing immediately became happy. If possible, she really wanted to hug Lin Feng. Fortunately, she restrained herself in time. Not long after, Lin Feng arrived at the VIP lounge where Yun Tianyu was resting. When he saw Lin Feng arrive, Yun Tianyu stood up and said with a smile, "Little friend Ji, I've heard of your name. I've heard of your name before, but may I know why you're looking for me?" Lu Shaoqing knew that Lin Feng and Yun Tianyu definitely had something important to discuss, so she left the VIP lounge. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, Senior Yun, actually this junior's real name is Lin Feng. Junior wishes to inquire about the whereabouts of a person from Senior. Lin Feng? The sinner's Emperor Lin Feng? Yun Tianyu was shocked. He clearly didn't expect Lin Feng's identity. Now that he knew Lin Feng's true identity, he couldn't help but be shocked. He had heard the name Lin Feng countless times. That's me, Lin Feng said. How can you prove it? Yun Tianyu narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't say anything else. Instead, he activated his sovereign emperor's blood. The sovereign of the imperial clan is indeed the emperor of the sinner's blood. Yun Tianyu nodded. Then, he asked, who do you want to inquire about from me? Lin Feng took out the letter Feng Yaoguang had sent him and said, I believe Senior must have seen this special paper before. This is a letter sent to me by a close female friend of mine. This paper is used only by the ancient survivors. Back then, when I was in the 9 provinces, I met this close female friend of mine and had a very good relationship with her. However, this close female friend of mine had a very important matter to deal with, and she was worried that she would implicate me, so she left without saying goodbye. This is the last letter I received. She seems to have encountered some trouble, but I don't know what kind of trouble she has encountered. I suspect that she is an ancient survivor, but I don't know where she is, so I wish to inquire about her from Senior. Yun Tianyu said, It has been a while since I went to the ancient survivors, so I don't know anything about this close female friend of yours. I'm not particularly sure if she's with the ancient survivors. This time, I plan to go to the place where the ancient survivors live in seclusion. When the time comes, I'll help you inquire about it. Whether or not I find the news of your confidant, I'll find a way to inform you. Lin Feng said, Can you take me with you to the ancient survivors? Yun Tianyu said, I really can help you with this. Without their permission, I can't bring anyone to their place of residence. I hope you can understand the ancient survivors. Back then, they were betrayed by their trusted friends, which was why the other powers found out where they were hiding. In the end, many of them died miserably. I don't know if you know about the betrayal of the ancient survivors, but you should have heard about their heavy losses. Lin Feng had indeed heard about this matter. Lin Feng even heard that Yun Tianyu's lover had fallen in this battle, so Yun Tianyu must be very emotional about this matter. Lin Feng said, Okay, then I will wait for Senior's news in the Western Paradise. Yun Tianyu nodded. Lin Feng then bid farewell and left. Seeing Lin Feng come out, Lu Shaoqing smiled and said, Did the discussion go smoothly, young master? Lin Feng smiled wryly. The result was worse than he had thought. Lin Feng wanted to go to the 10,000 Ancient Remnant personally, but now he couldn't go to the Ancient Remnant anymore. He had to wait for Yun Tianyu's news. Of course, Lin Feng didn't tell Lu Shaoqing about the troubles in his heart. He said, It went smoothly. I'll go back first. Let's meet again tonight. Go entertain Yun Tianyu. All right. Take care, young master, Lu Shaoqing said. Lin Feng nodded and left the Saint Treasure Pavilion. Not long after he returned to his residence, Leng Zishi returned with a mysterious look. Lin Feng asked around and found out that Leng Zishi had found a good treasure. It was a special energy body formed by condensing a very special energy. Moreover, this special energy body had a great effect on Leng Zishi's cultivation. Therefore, Leng Zishi needed to spend some time to refine this special energy body. After a simple conversation, Leng Zishi went to refine the special energy body. At night, Lin Feng went to the Saint Treasure Pavilion and invited Lu Shaoqing to go on a cruise. Lu Shaoqing had clearly dressed up. She wore a long white dress, which made her look even more ethereal. Seeing how charming Lu Shaoqing was, Lin Feng's eyes couldn't help but light up slightly. Lu Shaoqing was very good at reading people's expressions. Naturally, the changes on Lin Feng's face couldn't be hidden from Lu Shaoqing's eyes. Lu Shaoqing was delighted. As the saying went, a woman would dress up for the one she liked. Which woman didn't like being admired? Moreover, it was being admired by the person she liked. Lu Shaoqing naturally hoped so. She had always been looking forward to being able to take a step further with Lin Feng. Chapter 4956. The river in the city was called the Xiliang River. It was about 100 meters wide. Compared to the huge ancient city, the Xiliang River's scale was naturally not big. In the Xiliang River, there were many brothel boats and many pleasure boats. Brothel boats and pleasure boats were different. Brothel boats were equivalent to floating brothels on the Xiliang River. On the other hand, pleasure boats were boats rented by cultivators. They could follow the river and enjoy the scenery on both sides of the river. Isn't that Fairy Lu Xiaoqing? She actually went on a pleasure boat with a man. TSK, who is that man? She is going to enjoy the blessings of having multiple partners. This Lu Xiaoqing really has a good appetite. She doesn't reject any man. What nonsense are you talking about? Do you really think that the rumors in the outside world are true? According to what I know, there are many peak-level geniuses who are pursuing Lu Xiaoqing. However, no one succeeded. The rumors outside say that Lu Xiaoqing is a promiscuous woman. However, that is just a smear on Lu Xiaoqing's reputation. I have also heard of this matter. I heard that the son of the city lord of Little Western Paradise City was pursuing Lu Xiaoqing. However, Lu Xiaoqing did not agree. Later on, Lu Xiaoqing's scandal spread out. I reckon it was caused by that fellow. Didn't that fellow leave Little Western Paradise City many years ago? I heard that he went to the ancestral land of Baji Palace to cultivate. However, I heard that he returned a few days ago. Many cultivators started to discuss. At this moment, Lin Feng and Lu Xiaoqing had already boarded the pleasure boat. There were many servants on the pleasure boat. There were even many beautiful singers, dancers, and musicians. Actually, renting a pleasure boat was very expensive. An ordinary pleasure boat cost 10,000 immortal stones a day. A top-grade pleasure boat cost 100,000 immortal stones. The reason was that there were many servants on the pleasure boat. Especially those women. They were proficient in zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Lin Feng wasn't interested in watching the performances of the singers, dancers, or musicians. He just waited for the maids to bring him some food and drink. After the dishes were served, Lin Feng dismissed them. Lu Xiaoqing came to Lin Feng's side. She knelt beside the table and poured wine for Lin Feng, admiring this beauty at such a close distance. It was really quite comfortable. Young master, this wine was brought by me. It's called the 8 Treasures wine. It's said that 8 kinds of extremely precious ingredients were added to it. Not only does it have an extremely good effect on cultivation, it's also said to be able to clear the eyes, nourish the spirit, and nourish the yin and yang. Lu Xiaoqing said. Thank you, Fairy. Lin Feng took the wine cup from Lu Xiaoqing and drank it in one gulp. Fairy, what plans do you have for the future? Have you been staying in the Saint Treasure Pavilion all this time? Lin Feng asked Lu Xiaoqing. Lu Xiaoqing said, The world is chaotic, and life is difficult. If there are no accidents, I won't leave the Saint Treasure building. However, nothing is absolute. Who knows what will happen in the future? Lin Feng gently pinched Lu Xiaoqing's snow-white chin and said, What if I ask you to follow me? Will you leave the Saint Treasure Pavilion? Lu Xiaoqing's eyes lit up as she asked. Is young master serious? Of course. Lin Feng pulled Lu Xiaoqing into his arms. On another boat, more than 10 young masters were gathered. These young masters all had extraordinary auras, and it was obvious that they were all from famous clans. Every young master was accompanied by 2 women. The young master leading the group was none other than the son of the city lord, Situtianai. Situtianai's background was extremely extraordinary. His father was appointed by the 8 Extreme Palace to be the city lord of Little Western Paradise City. Although the city lord didn't have much authority because there were too many factions stationed in Little Western Paradise City, he was still the city lord of Little Western Paradise City. However, he was still the city lord of Little Western Paradise City, and his status was still very respected. Situtianai was also a young cultivator with great talent. Because of his father, he was highly valued by the 8 Extreme Palace. In addition, Situtianai was young Master Minghue's cousin. Young Master Minghue even had to call Situtianai cousin. Brother Situ's cultivation will definitely soar after coming out of seclusion from the 8 Extreme Palace's ancestral land. We will have to rely on Brother Situ's care in the future, a young master said. Brother Situ will definitely be a supreme figure in the future. Even someone like young Master Minghue will probably be suppressed by Brother Situ. We will definitely have a meteoric rise if we follow Brother Situ, another cultivator said. These people were all flattering Situtianai. Situtianai accepted their flattery with a clear conscience. In fact, Situtianai had always been jealous of his cousin, young Master Minghue. Ever since he was young, his brilliance had been overshadowed by young Master Minghue. This made Situtianai rather depressed. Of course, he was a scheming person, so he didn't show his jealousy. Although he wouldn't express his jealousy of young Master Minghue, Situtianai still felt rather good when others flattered him and said that he would be able to suppress young Master Minghue in the future. In fact, Situtianai wasn't a simple person after going through his past. For example, Situtianai had once used his connections to find a gathering place for the ancient survivors more than 10,000 years ago. He had personally led a team to raise that gathering place to the ground, killing more than 17,000 ancient survivors and capturing more than 8,000 of them alive. This was a great achievement. Situtianai's ability could be seen from this. Therefore, some of the higher-ups in the 8 Extreme Palace were rather optimistic about Situtianai and felt that he would be able to achieve great things. Otherwise, even if Situtianai's father had pleaded with the higher-ups of the 8 Extreme Palace, the higher-ups of the 8 Extreme Palace wouldn't focus on nurturing Situtianai. The higher-ups of these large family clans wouldn't let their emotions affect their decisions. They would only nurture someone if they were worthy of nurturing. Now that Situtianai had come out of seclusion, he was very pleased with himself. Since all of you have taken a fancy to me, Situtianai, I'm not a pretentious person. I won't treat you unfairly if you follow me in the future. After saying that, Situtianai raised his wine cup and said, Let me toast to all of you. Everyone raised their cups and drained it in one gulp. At this moment, someone came to the flower boat and said apologetically, Brother Situ, everyone, I'm really sorry for being late. The person who had come was a thin young man in green clothes. His name was Wang Dong. His father was one of the 10 great itinerant immortals of the small western paradise region, the Divine Eye Supremacy. He was a genuine immortal realm expert. Therefore, Wang Dong's status was rather extraordinary. As the saying went, a son's status depended on his father. Chapter 49-57. Situtianai smiled and said, You're not late at all. The gathering has just begun. Brother Wang, please take a seat. Wang Dong found a place to sit and said, If I'm late, then I'm late. If I'm late, then I'll be punished. How about this? I'll drink 3 cups as punishment. The maidservant beside Situtianai poured wine for Wang Dong. Wang Dong downed 3 cups in a row. Situtianai smiled and said, Brother Wang is so forthright. How about we toast to Brother Wang as well? It's our honor to toast to Brother Wang. The group hurriedly said. Under Situtianai's lead, everyone toasted Wang Dong. Wang Dong smiled and raised his cup with everyone. After putting down his cup, Wang Dong said, When I arrived, I saw many people pointing at a man and a woman. When I looked over, I realized that the woman was actually Lu Xiaoqing. She boarded the ship with a man, but I don't know who that man is. Wang Dong had just arrived at the Western Paradise City, so he didn't know Lin Feng. However, he knew Lu Xiaoqing. Wang Dong knew about the relationship between Situtianai and Lu Xiaoqing. Now that he mentioned Lu Xiaoqing's secret rendezvous with another man, it was naturally for Situtianai to hear about it. Wang Dong wasn't a simple person either. People called him the smiling gentleman, and he always had an amiable expression on his face. However, his methods were more sinister, and he probably didn't have any good intentions when he said those words. Lu Shaoqing? It's been a long time since I've seen her. I was just thinking of meeting her. Situtianya's lips curled into a cold smile. Back then, Lu Shaoqing had rejected his advances for 2 reasons. First, Lu Shaoqing didn't have any feelings for Situtianai. Second, Lu Shaoqing knew that Situtianai wasn't a kind-hearted person. Such a person would naturally act like he wouldn't marry anyone other than you before he got you. But after he got you, his attitude would definitely change. Lu Shaoqing had seen too many people, so she naturally knew what a person with Situtianya's personality would do in the future. Moreover, she also knew that Situtianai was a sinister person who would never give up in order to achieve his goals. Back then, when he massacred the ancient survivors, his personality had been fully displayed. Lu Shaoqing was the kind of person who still retained her kindness even after experiencing all kinds of hardships. Putting everything else aside, Lu Shaoqing would never agree to Situtianya's wanton massacre of the ancient survivors. At that time, Situtianai actually wanted to use force on Lu Shaoqing. Although Lu Shaoqing had the Saint Treasure building behind her, and the Saint Treasure building also had a powerful background, so what? Situtianai didn't care about this at all. No matter how powerful his background was, could it be more powerful than the 8-level palace? Moreover, Lu Shaoqing's status in the Saint Treasure Pavilion wasn't particularly high because she was only the person in charge of the Saint Treasure Pavilion's branch in the Western Paradise City. Although she had some background, it wasn't deep. So what if he used force on her? Could it be that someone was blind enough to offend the 8-level palace? However, before he took action, the 8-level palace's higher-ups urgently summoned Situtianai to the 8-level palace's ancestral land. Situtianai had no choice but to put this plan on hold. However, this guy was indeed a good-for-nothing. Before he left, he even ordered people to spread rumors that slandered Lu Shaoqing. Situtianai originally wanted to teach Lu Shaoqing a lesson when he returned. However, he had been busy with various social engagements, and didn't have time to deal with Lu Shaoqing. Now that he heard that Lu Shaoqing was meeting another man in private, how could Situtianai stand it? His heart was filled with anger and jealousy. At this moment, Lin Feng directly carried Lu Shaoqing and walked towards the inner room. Lu Shaoqing's hands were wrapped around Lin Feng's neck. She was at the peak of her passion, so she wanted to completely give herself to Lin Feng. However, at this moment, the voice of the guard on the flower boat came from outside. "Young masters, this boat has been booked by someone. Without permission, you can't force your way in. Are you blind? How dare you stop us?" At this moment, there were shouts and curses coming from outside. The guards didn't dare to say anything else. Some people were indeed people they couldn't afford to offend. Lin Feng was a little angry. It seemed that someone was trying to force their way into the boat. Lu Shaoqing quickly struggled to get down, and tidied up her messy clothes with a red face. Just as she finished tidying up, Situtianai and the others had already barged in. When he saw Lu Shaoqing's red face and watery eyes, he wanted to kill her. Situtianai even had the urge to kill. His face was as gloomy as it could get. "Get out!" Lin Feng said coldly. "Kid, who do you think you are? Do you know who we are? How dare you tell us to get out? You're courting death!" One of the young masters sneered. This young master wanted to flatter Situtianai, so he was the first to step forward. However, there were also some who recognized Lin Feng. When they saw Lin Feng, their faces turned pale. Their legs were about to give way. How did they offend this murderous god? Those young masters almost wanted to cry out loud. They had seen with their own eyes how Lin Feng had killed the 4 evil monks. Even the 4 evil monks had been killed by Lin Feng in an instant, let alone them. "Young Master Ji, this is all a misunderstanding. We'll leave right now." A few of the young masters who recognized Lin Feng hurriedly apologized and turned to leave. "Young Master Ji?" Could it be that young Master Ji who killed the 4 evil monks? The others came back to their senses. Although they had never seen Lin Feng before, they had heard of the 4 evil monks. But they had also heard that Lin Feng had killed the 4 evil monks. Now that they knew this young man was Prince Ji, they were all scared out of their wits and started shaking violently. Young Master Ji, it's all a misunderstanding. We'll leave too. The young masters shouted in horror. After apologizing, they hurriedly left. There were only 3 people left. Situ Tianai, the young master who had scolded Lin Feng, and Wang Dong. The young master who had scolded Lin Feng fell to his knees with a thump. Bang! 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 Then, he kept kowtowing to Lin Feng. Young Master Ji, I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please, young Master Ji, treat me as a dog and let me go. The young master begged. Lu Shaoqing smiled bitterly at the side. These top-notch young masters were lofty existences wherever they went. But now, they were scared half to death. Lu Shaoqing rejoiced at the thought of becoming Lin Feng's woman. Such a domineering man gave her an unprecedented sense of security. Get out. Chapter 49-58. You're that Ji? I've heard of you. I've wanted to meet you for a long time after I heard that you killed the 4 great evil monks. I never expected to meet you under such circumstances. Situ Tianai didn't seem to be afraid of Lin Feng. He smiled and spoke slowly. Get out and kneel outside. Lin Feng looked at Situ Tianai indifferently. He didn't like this guy, so there was no need for him to be polite. Situ Tianai sneered. You're really full of yourself. I know that you have some impressive means, but so what? You're still no match for me. This woman is the woman I've taken a liking to. You should know how powerful the Baji Palace is, so I don't think I need to remind you how to behave. However, I can overlook what you just said on account of the fact that you're also a top-notch genius. However, you have to hand over this woman. After you hand her over to me, I'll consider you my friend. Situ Tianai really thought too highly of himself. He spoke frankly and confidently in front of Lin Feng. His arrogant attitude made people want to beat him up. Situ Tianai, who came from a powerful organization, naturally had something to rely on. Since he had heard about Lin Feng and knew that Lin Feng had killed the 4 great evil monks, it was obvious that Situ Tianai had some terrifying means. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of means Situ Tianai had. However, regardless of what kind of means Situ Tianai had, Lin Feng wasn't afraid. The ignorant are fearless! Lin Feng looked at Situ Tianai and spat out these words coldly. These words fully displayed Lin Feng's disdain for Situ Tianai. After hearing Lin Feng's ridicule, Situ Tianai's face suddenly turned extremely gloomy. He was an extremely arrogant person and thought that he was superior to others. Now that he was being ridiculed by Lin Feng, he was naturally furious. He sneered and said, You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth just because you have some ability. Today, I'll show you how powerful I am. As soon as he finished speaking, Situ Tianai took a step forward and blasted his palm towards Lin Feng. A mysterious 8 trigrams pattern appeared on his palm. The divine ability he used was called the 8 trigrams universe palm. It was one of the top inheritances of the Baji Palace, and was very powerful. Situ Tianai knew many powerful divine abilities, but the 8 trigrams universe palm was Situ Tianai's favorite divine ability. Not only was this divine ability powerful, but it was also one of the few top divine abilities that Situ Tianai had cultivated to the great perfection realm. Therefore, Situ Tianai often used this divine ability against his enemies. Now, when facing Lin Feng, Situ Tianai also used this divine ability. Lin Feng had a sneer on his face. In the face of Situ Tianai's attack, Lin Feng unleashed a palm strike at Situ Tianai. Lin Feng didn't even use any divine abilities. He only channeled a bit of his own magic power. Even without the support of a divine ability, the power of Lin Feng's palm strike was still frightening to the point of horror. Boom! In the next moment, Lin Feng and Situ Tianai fiercely collided. After the collision, Lin Feng was completely fine, but Situ Tianai was pushed back by Lin Feng. How can this be? Situ Tianai's expression immediately turned ugly. Situ Tianyi knew what Evil Monk Yuan Fa's cultivation level was. Even though Evil Monk Yuan Fa was also a true celestial cultivator, he had only just broken through to the true celestial layer. The reason why Evil Monk Yuan Fa had broken through to the true celestial layer was because he had used some evil techniques. Because of that, he was much weaker than other true celestial cultivators of the same level. Therefore, Situ Tianyi wasn't surprised that Lin Feng had been able to kill Evil Monk Yuan Fa. Many top geniuses in the Undying Realm had the strength to kill Evil Monk Yuan Fa. Situ Tianyi's ability was very strong to begin with. After returning to the ancestral ground and obtaining a fortune, his cultivation had greatly increased. Therefore, Situ Tianyi was very confident in himself. This was also the reason why he didn't put Lin Feng in his eyes. However, after the fight, Situ Tianyi realized that he was gravely mistaken. Lin Feng's battle power was too strong, far stronger than he had imagined. When you attacked earlier, a mark seemed to have formed in your dantian. That mark boosted your battle power by a large amount. Even so, you're still too weak. I'm quite surprised by the mysterious mark in your dantian. What kind of mark is that? Lin Feng asked. Situ Tianyi's expression was gloomy. He didn't answer Lin Feng. Lu Shaoqing said, Young master, that mark is called the Ancestor's Mark. It is said that many special bloodlines can awaken the Ancestor's Mark. Depending on the bloodline, the time it takes to awaken the Ancestor's Mark is also different. Some bloodlines can awaken the Ancestor's Mark during their first or second transformation, but some bloodlines require more bloodline awakenings before they can awaken the Ancestor's Mark. The stronger the bloodline, the later it takes to awaken the Ancestor's Mark. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat when he heard Lu Shaoqing's explanation. His undying bloodline had awakened a golden humanoid figure. That golden humanoid figure could provide him with a large amount of energy to increase his battle power. Could that golden humanoid figure be his ancestor's mark? However, after thinking about it carefully, that didn't seem to be the case. Although the golden humanoid figure could increase his battle power, it didn't have the aura of the ancestor's mark. The ancestor's mark clearly had a special aura. If he had to give that aura a specific name, he could call it the ancestor's aura. There was no need to mention the sovereign bloodline. Even with the powerful Adler bloodline, it was impossible for him to awaken the ancestor's mark. Today's matter was purely a misunderstanding. Let's forget about it, Situ Tianyi suddenly said. Then, he turned around and left. Lin Feng sneered. Did I say you could leave? Situ Tianyi said with a gloomy expression. What do you mean by that? Do you want to fight me to the death? I admit that you are very strong, but I have many tricks up my sleeve that I haven't used yet. Even if I use them, I won't necessarily be afraid of you. Moreover, you must remember that this is the Little Western Paradise City. There are many experts of my 8 Extreme Palace stationed here. If you know what's good for you, you should know that taking a step back is beneficial to both you and me. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.